Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Data 7 live stream. Today, the 7th of May 2021, 3 minutes past 5 in the evening in the United Kingdom. We're back in X-Plane 11 and back in the excellent Just Flight Bae 146 Professional. Lovely flight lined up for you today. Today, we are in Biggin Hill for the first time, just the southeast of London. We'll be flying to Girona in Spain, near Barcelona. Flight time around 1 hour 30 minutes. Our second ever adventure in this aircraft as well. There's been several updates by the developers as well, so we're in the latest public version today, 1.0.6. Tested it yesterday and this morning. It's really nice. Really loving this aircraft at the moment, so hopefully I won't be too unprofessional with this aircraft. I've been practicing a little bit, all ready for this little flight today. So the theme of the flight today is this weekend in Barcelona. It's the fourth round of the 2021 Formula 1 season, and the Formula 1 management team own a BAE 146-100 in a kind of Formula 1 livery, and they're based out of Biggin Hill, and we're sort of simulating a corporate flight based on that very airline and that livery flying to Girona today. So we have Bernie Eccleston on board and a few other famous F1 management faces on here, so we'll best be on our best behaviour and get them there safely. I hope you're all doing very well anyway. Paul Schusmas here, Daniel F. Pan Gulin said it must be a wrench to leave the Airbus. Absolutely, I just saw your message on Discord as well. Thank you very much. Good evening to you as well. Not really missing the Airbus, but only joking. John Padfield's here. Andre Olsen, Aviation with Harry, says hi. Rory Shields, excited for some Stolpak action in the 146. Yes, we're still waiting for the livery for the 146. My main livery man has been really busy at the moment, but he has said that we've got the 146 livery for Outback Airways coming on the way here, so that's why we're in the F1 version today. But I thought this would be a really cool stream to do anyway here. Lovely weather here in London area. Is pretty much clear skies. We've got a light wind coming in from the south, so we're going to be taking off of runway 21 today. It's 12 degrees, and also the weather in Girona today is quite nice as well. So yeah, it'll be a nice flight right at the top of France. Really looking forward to this one. But there she is. You can see her in the distance. Look, there is the BAE 146. Look, we speed up the process of which we have come in here. We've just been wheeled out of the hangar there. So yeah, look at this aircraft. Absolutely awesome. It's so short and stubby. I think it can only hold about 80 people here. I know that the F1 management team have it as sort of like a corporate business jet. It's got 50 or 60 seats or something in there, but the cabin in this one is obviously the all-economy cabin, but it's really cool, really short and stubby. It's going to be fun to get this from A to B here. Paulcaster said Chonka, absolutely. Anthony Russell, is Mazepin on board? If so, how do you intend to spin off the taxway? Brilliant. I did see in FP1 today he had a little bit of an excursion off the track again. It's been on that Marzi Spin website. It's the only time you span around. Unbelievable. Lee Rose, I'll just pop down to Biggin and watch you depart. Very cool, Lee. You must be just round the corner here. Aaron Hastings, let's get the 500 vertical speed climbing. Well, actually, because it's quite a small version with the same engines, the performance isn't quite so bad. We'll be going up to 31,000 feet today. It is a little bit slow on the latter stages of the climb here. Cruising at back decimal 68 here. John Badfield and Bernie, better butter it then. Yes, we don't want to upset Bernie, do we here? Chris says, have you ever tried DCS? I haven't tried DCS, but perhaps I'll jump into that one day for a future stream. Right, anyway, here she is. Let's jump on into the cockpit here. Now, there is no kind of boarding music here, so I'm going to leave the music on in the background just really quietly for a little bit of ambiance. But yeah, she's completely cold and dark. I've done nothing except open the doors and pre-fueled it. We're going to do the full setup here. Should be a little bit quicker than last time, but just to show you around here, you can hear the F1 management team very loud already. But yes, in real life, the F1 management aircraft has an all-business configuration. I couldn't find any pictures of the cabin, unfortunately, but we'll imagine for the case here, they've got lay-flat beds and shag pile carpets, no matter what else they have in here. But yeah, we'll get in here and shut the door, because they're all seem very excited to get to Girona today. But there we are. We'll jump into the cockpit. Aaron, are we hanging the washing off the the RF antennas? Yes, I should think that is the RF antenna. But yes, your F1 overalls could be placed on there after a race, perhaps. There, Pan, how does the 146 come to have 4 engines on such a small aircraft? good question. Original developers of this aircraft have just stuck them on there. I mean, there is an aircraft with a sort of similar design to this sort of T-tail wing with the anhedral with 2 engines, but I can't remember the name of the developer. But no, it's quite a good aircraft. Obviously, it's being phased out at the moment, but its short takeoff and landing performance is excellent, as you'll see into Girona today there. Dank Yulal, are you in version 1.06 already? Yes, we are in version 1.0.6 today. Right, let's get the show on the road here. So I've got the checklist here on the side. So first thing it says is verify the gear levers down. The weather radar is off. Transponder set to standby. We are on VATSIM today. No ATC at the moment, but Barcelona might be online later. Make sure the air brake is completely in, which it is. Flaps are up. So they're in the up position there, and we'll put the nav lights on just prior to getting some power to the aircraft. So we'll put them to high intensity. Batteries will now turn on. I remember this sounds like a shop door opening. Love it. Batteries on, we'll put the external power straight on the bus there. You can see, look, the battery's no longer discharging. It's fully charged, showing 0 there. So it says now check that not only the gear lever is down, now we have electrical power, that we have 3 green lights, which we do. Brakes are set to yellow hydraulic system and park. There they are. Master switches all on, so that's here at the top of the overhead panel. Yaw dampers on, autopilot master, and avionics master switches are all on. Anti-skid and lift spoilers on, so anti-skid and lift spoilers yellow and green system is on. Bus tie switches to auto. They are to auto. Standby inverter, arm and checked. That is here, so that's arm, and the standby generator's armed as well. Generator 1 and 4 verify they are off at this stage, so they're offline. That looks good here. APU generator on, but we'll put it on. Unlike the 737, you can only switch power once it's up and running. You could put the APU generator on, so as soon as the APU is running online, there's no need to switch electrical sources. You just turn off the source and it will switch automatically. Very Airbusy, in fact. So put the APU generator on. There we go. Fire handles are all in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ground test complete. So there's loads of different tests here. We've got to do this one again for the stall warning. Where is it? The A10 Warthog stall. I've got some of these modelled now. I think with more of these modelled with the updates there. So there's a horn test, and I don't know how the guys in this aircraft test the system one by one. I'm not so sure, but we'll imagine they're all tested. APU on if required. Not going to use it at this stage. Master warning system test. There we are. All the lights are on there and all looking good. We'll reset the master caution lights there as well. Annunciator light test. I think that was just here. There we are. So we have all the autopilot systems and navigation systems tested. They're all illuminated as we'd like it. Cabin emergency lighting. We can arm, which I think is up here. There it is. Arm air conditioning as required. At the moment, we're going to have the packs off, APU air off as well at this stage, and that is all done for the flight deck safety inspection. Gatwick approaches online. JPF1. I'm guessing you're suggesting that they'd provide ATC for my departure out of Biggin Hill. Maybe they will, I'm not sure. Captain Franz, wow, we've got a leaf blower in the cockpit. Absolutely. Danny says someone's cutting trees. Sounds like it, doesn't it? Rory says it sounds like my tyre compressor. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Matthias, where can I get the alpaca livery for Microsoft Flight Simulator for the Caravan and Fly-by-Wire 320 mod? We don't have one for the Caravan. I think we do have one for the Fly-by-Wire 320 mod. The livery, Matthias will today just link the livery, which is the stock livery for the Just Flight F1 management team there. Thank you, Ian. Yes, the aircraft I was thinking of earlier was the DO328. That came in a turboprop version 2. Very, very cool. Yeah, the Dornier has the 2 engines. Looks sort of similar to this in design there. Awesome, let's crack on then with the rest of this check here. So, AC pump and PTU we need to do a check of. So we put the AC pump on. That pressurizes the yellow hydraulic system, and then the power transfer unit, I guess, is using yellow hydraulic system to pressurize the green system. It's just a test at this stage, so we'll turn that back off, and the AC pump comes off at this stage as well. Thrust levers config is checked, so there's the button. We're going to get the config warning, of course, because we're not configured for takeoff. Verify the fuel levers are in the off position. Continuous ignition, verify is off. There it is here. Engine anti-ice. Now, the checklist says on. I don't know why you turn the engine anti-ice on at this stage, and then it says on for the rest of the checklist. I've been leaving it off whilst I've been testing it. Maybe there's some test of the system that I'm unaware of at this stage, but I'm going to leave them off here. Ignore the checklist. Heaters off at this stage. Wing and tail ice protection also off. Engine air off. That's sort of like engine bleed air. Flight deck emergency lights we've already armed. Control disconnect switches. Handles are in. So these are quite clunky red levers here to disconnect, you know, the elevators and ailerons from the controls if they're jammed, so each control will control separate systems. Now on the 737 we don't have these sort of disconnect switches, you just physically pull them until it's disconnected, and then you have the first officer's control column which will control a roll for the spoilers, and the captain's the roll by the ailerons, so you'll always have control if one of them is jammed. But how the 146 systems work I'm not so sure about, but they are in. That's all that's important for us today. Your dampers are on, and verify the autopilot's disconnected. So, before start checklist, safety exterior checks complete. Thrust levers, we've already verified the fuel is off. All hydraulics are off at this stage, so that's on this panel here, so they are all off. Engine 2 and 3 pumps. Fuel panel checked and set. So, you'll see here, if I bring up the operational flight plan, straight from SimBrief. Now, the flight plan is actually based off the RJ equivalent of the BAE 146-100, the RJ70. Having completed the test sector, this fuel flow burn is quite conservative. It's a little bit more realistic, I think, for the RJ100 and the 146-300. But on the test sector, I was sort of burning 1,600 kilos, 1,700 kilos in the cruise. So it does help us. I am still going to put a bit of extra fuel on board as well, because I'm a chicken. So 30 minutes, even though I wouldn't take any extra fuel based on the weather today. So that would be 5.8. We'll base it off this fuel flow of 2.4 tonnes an hour, pretty much the same as the 737. So I've just gone 7 tonnes for the fuel. That's at least a nice chunky 30 to 45 minutes extra holding time in Girona for any potential delays. So you can see, look, I've already filled the wings, 3, 4, 6, 2 either side. That's just shy of 7 tonnes. No cargo, and 50 of F1's top executives on board today. So that's all loaded and done. Pressurization checked and set, so we'll be cruising at 31,000 feet. So we'll set that to 31,000 feet. Now, interestingly, I've noticed that the cabin altitude that it maintains for 31,000 feet is around it's over 9,000 feet. That's really high. And this aircraft, I don't know how the system works, but I think it has a max cruise altitude of 35,000 feet. So I was thinking, surely it doesn't maintain a cabin altitude of over 11,000 feet, because you're going to get all sorts of warnings going off. But we'll set it to our altitude today, and that should maintain a cabin altitude around 9,000 feet or so. I noticed when I was flying on the test sectors, it was maintaining a cabin altitude of exactly what it said on the overhead panel, so around 9,000 feet. Cool. Ice detection is on. Lights and notices are set for this stage here. Air conditioning we've checked and set. Fasten seatbelt signs can come on because the fueling is complete. Flow meters are zeroed for our next sector. So you'll see here there's a little button to push, but you can see that fuel used indicating 0 on all of them. We've checked the fuel contents. Flight data recorder is also set. You can see down here it's set to the current date, which is the 7th of May, 01. I think it's the flight number, and then the first flight of the day, and then you put your flight number there at some point, but that is set. Nav aids and frequencies are set now, so what we'll do, we'll put the flight directors on, and we'll turn on the radios. So for departure here, I want 15.1 for Biggin Hill. The VOR is located on the airfield. We'll make that active, and I'm also going to put here Detling on standby. We'll make it active for Jim's nav aid and standby on box 1. And these are the VORs we'll be using for our departure. Now, I am going to be using conventional navigation for the SID, but like the last stream, I'll be utilising the flight management computer because on the way to Spain from France, there's not many en route VORs. I will be using them as backup, but the full arrival into Girona will be done conventionally. I'm not going to use the FMS today, which is pretty cool. Chris says, nothing helps pilots like hypoxia, absolutely. Astruch says, odd, usually the BAE ceiling is flight level 300. Now, maybe it is, but I swear I I read somewhere, maybe it was Wikipedia, which isn't the best source of information, but I think it said on Wikipedia that the service ceiling's 35,000 feet. But I'd be interested to get some feedback on that. Otherwise, well, on the test sector I went to 31,000 feet and survived, so we'll have to see what happens later on. To navigator set, I want courses of 095, which is for our SID, and I'll put it on Jim's side as well. 095, and I'm going to put the heading to 095. We'd usually set this to runway heading, but I'm going to be flying the departure completely manually. It's a really tricky SID to fly because we have a very low stop altitude, 2,400 feet, and I'm going to be in a turn whilst I try to level off here. It's going to be probably one of the most difficult SIDs I've attempted to fly, an aircraft I'm not very familiar with, but that's all the more entertaining for you guys. So that's done. Now, one of the things Just Flight said they've updated is the fact that you can now sync the altimeters. However, since the update, I've not been able to work out how to do it. So for now, I will just set the QNH manually for all the altimeters. 1016 is the current altimeter setting. BBC breaking news. Something about quarantine. Oh, that's actually good news for me, but it looks a bit. Portugal, Israel and Gibraltar on the quarantine-free travel list for England from the 17th of May. Excellent news for me, I guess. I've heard some rumours that we'll be going flying next month, so very, very excited to hear that. Excellent. Right, QNH is 1016 is set, and we then need to do the briefings and set the TMS for departure. So all I've got left to do, guys, is set up the TMS system. Well, I call it the thrust management system. Someone corrected me last stream. It's the thruster modulation system. So we'll set that up now. So we'll turn that on. We'll set the outside air temperature for Biggin Hill, which is 12 degrees. And we'll take full thrust based off 12 degrees here. So I'll put this to takeoff. Won't take an assumed thrust today because it's quite a short runway. Even though we're very light, we should be grand. And the target N1 is going to be 93.7. So we'll set that on each one of these bugs. 94. 94. And last one. There we are, that looks like it's set. And the TGT temperature, 840 degrees. So we don't want to exceed that in the climb, so 840. And what this TMS system does, if you didn't watch last stream, it basically, this aircraft doesn't have auto throttle, but this thrust modulation system will fine-tune your target N1 or TGT based on your phase of flight. You tell it what phase of flight you're doing, and it'll just make fine adjustments to the thrust levers to ensure that everything's synchronized and the same, I believe. But yeah, otherwise it is a manual, no auto throttle. You have to manage your thrust manually. Right, well, last one here, 8 little gauges to set here. Take some time. There we are, 93 and 840 degrees. That looks pretty good to me. So, last thing we've got to do then is all our briefings. Paul F, service ceilings 31,000 feet, absolute 35,000 feet. Thank you very much for looking at that. We should be fine then at 31,000 feet there. Addy, yep, it's really difficult to fly the SID, especially in a 727 when you forgot you don't have an auto throttle. Yeah, this is a tough one. It's going to keep me very busy, that's for sure. Now, what I'm going to do is bug 200 knots here. Actually, no, hold on. Before I do that, set our speeds by pushing that. And I'm going to bug 200 knots, which is going to be my initial target speed during the turn. But we'll talk about the takeoff in length as well. Right, let's get the APU started. No, that's the engine master start switch. So there we are, APU's on its way. Have a little listen to the sounds. Oops, sorry about that, making everyone dizzy. Awesome, we'll get the chocks removed as well, ASAP. There we are, APU's up and running. Doesn't take long at all, APU power available. So we already have APU generator on, so all I need to do is disconnect the external power. There we are, off. And we'll get rid of the chocks, GPU, we'll close the door and the cargo doors as well. Great clunky sounds. Lovely animations. Excellent. Perfect. Now, one of you guys suggested that Gatwick approach could actually get me, cover ATC for me. I don't think that's true. I'm still pretty far away from Gatwick. Well, actually, no, I'm not far away from Gatwick. You know what? It won't hurt to ask, will it? We do have London North on here. Let me just call up Gatwick Approach here. Anyway, it might be someone in chat here who's an expert on the matter. I'm just going to tune up Approach here. We need to turn the radios on first. Oops, no, that's not the switch. There we are. Hi, Jamlin. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Nicholas, didn't know you were an F1 fan, Captain. Let me guess, Lewis fan. You know, no, you know what? I am, but I sort of like the idea of Max beating him because I'm sort of sick of the dominance, really, just to spice F1 up a little bit. But it'll be interesting to watch there. I don't think it will cover you. I have London North as well, but no, I'm not in their jurisdiction. I'll quickly tune up Gatwick Approach. It won't hurt to ask. 126825. Good idea to test the radios anyway. Let me just get the volume mix here. Oh, by the way, our call sign today is Formula 1. That's the actual call sign used by Formula 1 management.
Standby brakes, North France 906, Mike, report passing altitude.
North France 906, Mike, passing at 1,900.
North France 906, Mike, climb now, flight level 170.
Flight level 170, North France 906, Mike.
0681 Delta, Garrett Director, hello, landing, runway 26 left, no delay. Report aircraft type and level.
I don't think Gatwick Approach will do it because that's usually assigned to that's assigned to an airport. So I'm not going to worry. And what I'm going to do, and London North as well, I very much doubt it's London North because the border for London North starts around 80 miles north of my position. So what I'll do, I'll detune it, and I'm sure if I start flying around and start flying around, you know, they'll say something. But you suggest using London Centre. Okay, I'll try London North Centre. Even though I can see here that he's out of my jurisdiction. Again, it won't hurt to ask. London Centre, hello. It's Formula 1 in Biggin Hill. Just asking, do you cover this area for us?
Station calling. You're fairly reasonable. I think it says you're on the Grand Biggin Hill. I don't cover Biggin Hill. I only cover the airspace on Birmingham.
Understood, thank you. There you go. That's answered the question then. So he's far, too far away, this guy here. So we'll stick offline there, and then we'll go from there. Cool. So let's have a look at this taxi and departure then. So what we're going to be doing, guys, is taxiing out off the southeast apron here. It's runway 21 in use. We're going to probably take Lima onto Echo, then Alpha, all the way to runway 21, so quite a simple taxi, but a long way to go here. And here is the SID. This is going to be extremely exciting, okay? So we have Biggin Hill active 15.1, which is the first SID I'd like to use today. And what we're going to do is climb straight ahead on runway heading. Now notice the runway heading is 206 degrees there, 206. And it wants us on to go on a heading of 220, so let's have a look here for runway 21. It says, as soon as practical, turn right 220 degrees. So what I'm going to do, we're already at 570 feet here. I'm going to wait until I'm at 1,000 feet, so only 400 feet above where we are here. And then I'm going to make a right turn immediately to track 220. It then says, once you get 1 mile from Biggin, so we have Biggin active 15.1. We're going to look for 1 mile here. We're going to start a right turn, maximum 185 knots. So actually, what I'm going to do here is not bug 200. It's bug 185. So that is about there. And we're going to go all the way around until we're back overhead at Biggin. Now, even if you maintain this speed, you're likely to overshoot slightly, but this is the real threat here. Look at the stop altitude. It is just 2,400 feet. So I've got to do so many things at once here. I've got to turn, maximum speed of 185 knots. I'm then going to have to level off in the turn at 2,400 feet, reduce thrust to make sure I'm maintaining 185 knots. So I'm going to do this all manually, and then what I'm going to do is carry on round. We're very likely to go overhead Biggin Hill, so I'm going to overshoot it slightly, and then we'll intercept the 095 radial. So I have 095 here, 095 into Biggin, and we're going to maintain 2,400 feet. We have to maintain that until 9 miles. Well, you can actually go up another 100 feet.
50, 40,
it's 2,500.
30,
then you can climb to 4,000 feet,
10.
4 miles from Dead Lake, and then after that you're free to climb. So I'll actually follow the SID as accurately as possible. It's going to be great fun for you to watch, no doubt, and you're going to all have a laugh here because it is quite tricky in an aircraft that's unfamiliar with me. I'm going to have to do it all manually, and once we're established on the 095 or on the intercept heading, I'll get the automation in, and hopefully we won't make too many mistakes. You're all going to love this for sure. Right, I think we've got everything briefed. We'll imagine we've got our clearance. 2,000, we'll put the transponder to out off, and we're all ready, guys, for the engine start. So APU generators on, beacon light will turn on.
50, 40,
Oh, sorry, I missed
30,
the first one there.
20,
Thank you very much. It was the LEH that donated £1. Thank you very much. And someone says Thames radar is logging on soon. Who covers Biggin Hill? All right. Well, I'm not going to wait. I will just carry on because we're coming up to the point where we're due off blocks, which is in 2 minutes here. But thank you very much to Toga Control, whoever that is, for the £1, and LEH for the £1 as well. Right. So beacon is coming on, which is all the way up here. There we are. Beacon on. Packs and APU off if starting from APU. So packs are off, and it also says APU air off. You'd think naturally that you want the APU air on, but the system uses APU pressurization, or the air from the APU, without this, which is more to do with
40,
the air conditioning system.
30,
thank
20,
you very much,
10.
Paul Emerson, for the. I see what you did there. £14.60. Very generous. Thanks, buddy.
Because you're a Formula One flight, are you allowed to taxi really fast?
Thank you very much, Paul Emerson. I'll see if I can get up to 30 knots to you on that narrow taxiway. Thank you very much, Paul Emerson. Very kind for the £14.60. One of my longest subscribers on the channel. Thank you so much, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Right, so Pax and APU air is off. Engine anti-ice, it says on, but I still leave it off at this stage. Not going to use it for departure. AC pump we now turn on. There we are. Fuel pumps verify on. Oops, we should have actually turned those on a little bit sooner to pressurise the APU. Start power to normal. We'll turn the music off now so we can enjoy all these sounds. So start power, starter master on, sorry. We're going to start engine number 4 first. And start master on, and then we start the engine. So let's start engine number 4. Clink. There we go. So waiting for an N2 of 15%. I know what I forgot to do is put the routing in the FMS, but that'll only take me 2 seconds. There goes engine number 4. Flight plan, route. There's the one I made earlier. Looks good on engine number 4. Starting engine number 3. Running 15% N2. Shame about the default FMC. Do not despair. Just Flight are bringing out the custom FMC for Explain 11. I think they've got a third party developing it for them. Right, so we're departing runway 21, and it's a lid 2. Execute. The arrival into Girona is going to be 20 Canning 2 Foxtrot. ILS Zulu 20 via Banol. Execute legs. And there to there. Execute. There we are. Reading's done. I'm not going to be really using it. I'm going to be using conventional navigation where possible. So, starting engine number 2. Into 15% again. Oh, Cam's Pilot, thank you very much. I'll read that in a second. I just saw that. Cam's Pilot's one of the developers of this aircraft, Just Flight. So he's talking about how to sync the altimeters, which I've been trying to work out how to do. I'll get the engine number 1 started, and then we'll taxi out. Looking good. EGT's decreasing and stabilised. Starting engine number 1. No VNAV, by the way. Is this a mini version of the 747? I think you can utilise VNAV in the default FMS, but where's the fun in that? We're going to be doing it all manually, and we'll be working out speed, distance, time calculations for descent as well to make sure we make restrictions. There we are. That's engine number 1. looks like we've got 4 good engine starts. There we are. 4 hair dryers spinning. Excellent. Very, very, very good. Right, now let's carry on here with the rest of the... No, sorry. I was going to look at the question here regarding syncing the altimeter. So standby and FO barrow settings can be synced to the captain's barrow by clicking on the centre of those 2 knobs. Ah, okay. So you can set standard on all 3, but how do I set the local pressure setting? Clicking the centre of the captain's knob sets 1013, so I guess I can only sync... Okay, so it syncs... I guess it can't sync Q and H though. Well, that's not a problem. I can at least do the standard. That'll help out. Yeah, 1013, that definitely worked. 1016. Right, we have it all set there now. Right, let's do the after start checklist here. So start power, that goes to off, and normal. Engine anti-ice is required, it's not required. Generators 1 and 4 online. Brake flange to auto. There we are, brake flange to auto. Hydraulics on and checked. So we've got the yellow and green pumps on and providing pressurisation. That's looking good. Heaters on. So we've got screen heats and ice protection switches are all on. APU and engine air is required, so we'll have that off. Engine air will be on for departure. Packs on for departure. We don't need the APU anymore, so we'll stop that. There we are. Here the air conditioning pressurisation work. TMS is set. Ground equipment is removed. Transponder is required. It's in out off. Flaps, we're going to use 18 for departure.
$50, $40, $30, $20.
Thank you very much, Pangoli, for the £5. Very kind of you, sir. Thank you.
Looking forward to finding out how fast a 146 can lap the track once you've landed.
Should we just fly right over the top of Catalunya and just do the circuits as steeply as possible? Thank you very much, Pangoli, for your £5. Very generous of you. Thank you for the continued support as a member as well. Cheers, buddy. Awesome. So, what else have we got left to do? Flight controls. Well, it says to do it on the taxi app, but I'll do it now. Full forward, full back, left and right. Here comes the rudders. Full right and full left. There seems to be no restrictions. There's no recall system. We only have a parking brake on annunciation. And I think we've got everything else set. Yeah, trim. It just says in the checklist, make sure it's in the rear section of the green band, which it is. And we'll do a config check. We'll just release the parking brake. Config check. There we are, so no config warning. And I think we've done everything. Continuous. And there's just a few checks to do prior to departure there. Right, we're all ready to go, guys. So, taxi then, we're going to go straight ahead here. Make a slight left turn, Lima, Echo, join Alpha. And we're going to go all the way to Alpha 1 for runway 2. Thank you
40,
very much.
30, 20,
Nicholas, 0102 for the £2. Just get the aircraft moving here. Taxi lights on, runway extension lights on, and all of the alerts. Nicholas says, instead of Toga on takeoff, can we have scenario 7? Oh, more F1 references here. Very, very good. Yes, as I said, I watched FP1 earlier, and I saw Nazi spin off. I think it was wasn't Bottas as first, then Verstappen, and then Hamilton was third. But yeah, Bottas seems to be good at FPs and qualities. He can get the qualifying lap in, but he just, yeah, there's loads of rumours going around that he'll be dropped by Mercedes mid-season. I don't know if that would be true or anything.
Biggin Hill traffic transfer to Takeoff, taxi to Instructor runway 21 via Delta.
We better say something as well as we're on Unicom here. Biggin Hill traffic's Formula 1 taxiing to Hull Point Alpha 1 for runway 21. Perfect, so we're on our way. We've got everything set up. We've got nav 1. I think we're all good here. I'll talk you through the takeoff, what we're going to do as well. It's going to be very, very busy. I'm just going to mute the alerts here as well. There we are. try and always mute the alerts and critical phases here. Nice scenery here, by the way, guys. TDG, free to download, and it's one of his most recently updated ones, but it matches the taxi charts really nicely here. George will replace it for sure, absolutely, Nicholas, I agree. There we are. So imagine we've got clearance to cross, go over to Alpha, and then it'll be Alpha 4. The sounds on this are amazing. Right here onto the Alpha taxiway. Perfect. And what I'll do, I'm going to actually do a sort of before takeoff checklist, and also the same before start flow that I do with the 737. The reason is that my operator's SOP and checklist, when I'm flying aircraft which are sort of similar in design, so sort of generators and the systems on this are sort of similar in the way the 737 operates, it makes me catch anything that I might have forgotten. So sort of before taxi flow we do usually stationary. We've got ATCF things, we've got generators on, APU is off, start switch is continuous, probe and anti-icing systems are on, packs are on, so we've got these engine air systems all on here, and then we've done the flight controls, we've got the flap set for departure as well, we've done the config check, and now I'll do a before takeoff checklist as well. We do have Thames approach here too, so what I'll do, I'll just get the before takeoff checklist complete. Actually, you know what, I'll get Thames approach tuned, and because he might change our clearance, but I'm going to request that we do this departure anyway because it's more fun. Let's see what he says. Thames radar, it's Formula 1 Biggin Hill taxiing a holding point to Alpha 1 runway 21.
Formula 1 Roger, break Transavia 22 Golf, report your aircraft type please.
Say again please, transfer to the Gulf.
Report your aircraft type please.
Boeing 727.
He's doing it old school as well. Good man. I'm glad to hear aircraft like that flying around.
Golf, Roger, hold position, you cleared to Girona. Be with standard cleared to departure with right hand turn out after 1 mile, routing through the Biggin overhead, inbound Detlin. Climb to altitude 3,000 feet, squawk 0734. Biggin Hill information's Delta, QNH 1016.
Transavia at Biggin Hill, welcome to Fantasy.
Departure runway 21 and inbound
Got Alpaca Airways here though.
Climb of flight level 23000.
See, look, we've just had to, you know, we've got a side job here from Alpaca Airways, just working for the Formula 1 management team.
QNH 1016, transfer to Gulf.
Transavia 22 Golf, squawk 0734.
Ah, look, there's Biggin Hill VOR, so what you'll notice is, look, whilst we taxi past it, look, you'll see the needle swing around as it points directly at the VOR.
Transavia 22 Golf, read back correct, continue taxi, hold Delta 1.
Continue taxi, runway 21, Alpaca to Gulf.
Alpaca 555, redirect Wafu, climb now flight level 190.
There's an Alpaca airborne somewhere.
Redirect Wafu and flight level 190, Alpaca 255.
Formula 1, correction Thames director, good evening. I have a reroute for you which I'll send by text now, advise if you can accept.
Stand by. Actually, sorry, ready to copy Formula 1.
Just advise if you're able to accept that route in that sent.
So Formula 1, direct Lid, direct Ampoise, direct Toulouse,
Sorry,
direct
Alpaca
Papillon,
255, could you
direct
spell out
Cadix. It's
the,
completely changed my
waypoint
flight
you
plan.
want to direct to, text, please?
What's wrong?
Wafu,
I'm going to request to fly the filed one because I went so long to stitch this routing together at Formula 1. Is it possible we can actually fly the filed flight plan, sort of stitched it together in preparation for this, and then request the Lid 2 departure via Detling and then Lid?
So the route that I sent you is the route that the other two are flying, which I assume is this like event route thing.
Oh no, I made my own one sort of to make it a bit easier for me. If I could follow my flight plan, that'd be great, please.
Roger. In which case, hold Alpha 1 if it's standard lit 2 departure with right hand turn out after 1 mile, routing inbound Biggin. Correction, routing overhead. Correction. The right hand turn out after 1 mile, routing through the Biggin overhead inbound Detling, climb to altitude 3,000 feet, squawk 3515, QNH 1016.
Clear to Girona after departure 1 mile from Biggin, right turn of the Biggin overhead, and then inbound Detling, climb 3,000 feet, squawk 3515, QNH 1016, Formula 1.
Formula 1, make that correct. Continue to hold Alpha 1.
Hold Alpha 1, Formula 1, thanks for that. Perfect, so 3,000 feet then, well that's going to make it easier for me, it's just a slightly higher altitude to climb, not by that much, and then flight plan routing is going to be to go direct to Detling from the Biggin overhead, so that routing's correct as planned, we just need to get the squawk in, which is 3515.
Just continue with Unicom 122.8.
Oh yeah, so that's in.
Behind next departing, Transavia.
Tom, let me just fix these volumes, guys. It's very loud here.
Behind.
Departure line up via Delta 1.
There we are. So it should be a little bit easier to understand what's going on here. So you'll notice I'm stationary to get that clearance. It's exactly what we'd be doing in real life. If we got a change for our clearance, we'd stop the aircraft, set the parking brake, check the new routing, put it into the flight management computer. If there's a change of runway, we'd again change the routing in the FMS. We'd have to recalculate the takeoff performance and rebrief the SID as well. So stopping like that to get a new clearance isn't unrealistic at all. But yeah, I think what happened was the guys went with the other guys that are going to Girona, they just used the standard stock SimBrief flight plan. I took that and I jigged it slightly to give it a bit more of a more realistic routing via LEGE, where our SID terminates based on airways that I use going to Barcelona in the past. So it was good of him to, he obviously gave me a change of routing. It was good of him to accommodate my standard flight plan for two reasons. One, I've already got it plugged into the flight management computer as a safe flight plan. I don't want to have to put it all in manually, and I don't know the nav aids off the top of my head. Anyway, if you look back at the video 10 seconds ago, you'll see, look at that needle swing round, and we went through the radial. That's because we've just taxied straight past the Biggin Hill VOR just here. Look. Anyway, I'm not taxiing like I'm a Formula 1 driver, am I? This is very slow and cautious. Anyway, we'll carry on. There's Alpha 3. I'll be clear to Alpha 1. There's the whole point there. So yeah, the SID is exactly the same. So we'll do a little before takeoff checklist here. So config, we check the system by pushing the config button. Check it again. There we are. Config's checked. It's a bit more like a Formula 1 driver. Flaps, we have positioned 18. As DAB trim is set for departure. It's in the green band here, right at the rear as suggested. Let's do the takeoff briefing.
I don't cover where it
so engine bleeds on, packs are on. Speeds are set for departure, so have a VR of 112, V2 of 124. My initial climb speed is going to be 135 knots, okay? And then what we're going to do is immediately after departure at 1,000 feet, we're going to make a slight right turn, and we're going to be tracking 220. Once we're 1 mile away from the Biggin Hill VOR, we're going to start a right turn back overhead Biggin, and unlike what the SID stop altitude says, we're going to climb to 3,000 feet as opposed to 2,400 feet. So again, I'll show you what it looks like on the picture. Straight ahead, slight right turn 220, 1 DME, right turn max 185 knots all the way around until we're 095 inbound to Detling, outbound on the 095 rating from Biggin, and the only change is the altitude by ATC, 3,000 feet instead of 2,400. I've got 185 knots bugged, that will assist me to maintain the speed once the orange circle's in the middle there, and then no doubt ATC will give me several changes on the departure for me to maintain. It's going to be fun. It will be very interesting for you to watch as I do this all manually. Right, I think we've done everything here. Now, just before I line up here, I just want to make sure we've got everything set. So flight directors are on, nav aids we've set, config we checked, briefings reviewed, continuous ignition is on, radar we need to turn on, tilt here to +5. Put the range up to something more reasonable, 200 miles. So that's done. It says AC pump verify on. It is on. Lights and strobes on, so I'll turn those on now. In preparation for takeoff. Actually, which way is landing lights? It's facing up there. There we are, landing lights are on. We'll bring it to stop here at Alpha 1. Strobe lights can come on as well. TMS is set, controls, all good. So I think I've got everything done. We're ready for departure. Formula 1, whole point Alpha 1 for runway 21, ready for departure.
Formula 1, roger.
Oops. Ah, look, Alpaca Airways.
Alpaca 3 Echo and Formula 1 if you contact Biggin Hill Tower now, 134.8, see you in a second.
What's that frequency? 134?
Biggin Hill Tower now, Alpaca 3.
I missed that because I was outside. Oh, there's Tower, 134.8, Biggin Hill Tower. There we are, that's active. Yeah, Alpaca Airways, there's a proper airline look. There we are. So, as soon as we've lined up, all I've got left to do, we've got the weather radar on, transponder to TAR8, you know what that's
Biggin
doing
Hill
now.
Tower, Alpaca 3-8 Echo lined up.
Strobe lights are on, landing lights are on, checks complete.
Alpaca 3-8 Echo, Biggin Hill Tower,
It's the problem with that sim, all the volumes of different people, it all change, you know, so some people are loud, some people are quiet, so this guy's very quiet now. Cool. All ready to go. Well, we would have been airborne. We've been very proficient today. It's just been a lot of traffic that appeared here out of nowhere. Rohi, Alpaca is the best airline, thank you. Javelin Alpaca 146 is about 85% complete. Awesome. Very, very good. And the H1302 is DRS enabled yet. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Nice look to get Formula 1 BA 146 and Alpaca Airways in the same shot. Well, I can't hear anything. And unfortunately, A-firm holding Alpha 1 runway 21 ready for departure for the lid tube.
Formula 1, roger, behind the departing Boeing 737, runway 23, land wait behind.
Behind the departing 737, line up and wait behind Formula 1. Did you say runway 23? Probably about 20 years ago, but the magnetic variation shifted quite a bit. In fact, Biggin Hill used to be 0220, if I remember rightly. But yeah, the magnetic variation's always on the move.
Alpaca 3-8 Echo with a left-hand turn out to report overhead, runway 23, 721 degrees, 10 knots.
What SID's he doing? He's doing a different SID.
Alpaca 3-8 Echo, just to confirm, left turn out.
Yeah, right, it's correct, Cookie.
Correction, right.
Right hand turn, Alpaca 3-8 Echo cleared, takeoff runway 21.
Well done, Cookie. That's Lars, one of the moderators. Oh, he's here as well. Cookie alert, he says. Right, we'll be cleared to line up and wait behind as soon as he starts rolling. We'll be right behind. So what you'll see Cookie do, it'll be quite cool actually. You'll notice the Alpaca is he'll do this 180 degree turn. Oh, sorry, 270 degree turn. He's going to go straight over our heads. Here we go. Time to explain to the passengers the reason for the delay. Yeah, sorry, Bernie. Yeah, 737 can get in and out of here. What's the runway length there? Yeah, 1,800 metres. Yeah, no problem. Short runway for the 73, but it can operate in and out here safely. Airborne. Nice. Lovely evening to go flying. I forgot I'm not in a 737. It's such a short aircraft. There we are. There's Cookie's turn, so he's going to do that same departure as we are, all the way round and then onto the overhead as well. Very cool. Well, there's aircraft everywhere. Try and get a cool shot here, look. MU223, proud to say I've flown an aircraft out of this airport. Great departure, very cool. Not as cool as Alpaca Airways doing a Lid 2 departure though. Look at this beast. Move the camera back and zoom in. Got all my camera experts here. There he comes, look. So you can see, look, it's no fault of Cookie. Look, he's overshot. You can't fly this in, it's very difficult. You know, it's a very tight arc. I'll do my best. 30 degrees angle bank I've used, but you're going to overshoot it before you can go on here. Never fly as it's exactly depicted. Very cool though. Awesome. And we'll never catch him in this aircraft, that's for sure.
Alpaca 38 Echo, contact 10 direct to frequency 132.7.
Awesome.
132.7 Alpaca 38 Echo,
That'll be us. We're next then, guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I say get your tokens in chat. I don't know what the equivalent is in the 146. Get your TMSs in chat. I don't know. David Moore, 4 hair dryers, absolutely. Jamlin, what's the scenery for Biggin Hill? Is this the 200 146? It's the 100 version Jamlin, the shortest one, and the Biggin Hill scenery is from TDG. Excellent, Daniel F, I love it. TMS, TMS, TMS. Let's get out of here, let's go. How many pit stops are we planning? I've got a funny feeling there's going to be a lot of F1 references here. Bernie's already tapping me on the shoulder, asking what the delay is. We were meant to have been off blocks 25 minutes ago, airborne around 15 minutes ago. So, whilst we're waiting here, the takeoff roll, what's going to happen is I'm going to set approximately 93.7% N1, then the TMS systems will take over and fine-tune to ensure that we get that target N1. We'll rotate at VR 15 degrees, 1,000 feet, which is around 400 feet AGL, immediate right turn track 220. Once we're at 1 DME, we'll continue that right turn all the way around in a loop, overhead Biggin, fly outbound on the 095 radial, levelling off at 3,000 feet. I'm going to do all of that manually, or attempt to anyway. We'll tell him we're ready anyway. Formula 1 ready for departure.
Formula 1 roger, it'll just be another minute.
Roger. Big separation here, guys. Jamming, I was expecting this as payware. No, I mean, TDG, both in Girona. I've got TDG in Girona as well. There was some payware Girona scenery, but I think it was quite outdated, and I saw TDG had one. I loaded up, and yeah, TDG using the libraries, it looks pretty good. Jamie, did you remove the tyre warmers? Unbelievable. Jack Mackenzie, you're flying the F1 calendar in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Very cool. You're flying to Spain this weekend as well. Yeah, the reason I chose Girona is I think that's where I looked on Flight Radar, and this very aircraft we're in goes often from Biggin Hill to Girona.
Formula 1, runway correction with a right-hand turnout, reported to report overhead. Runway 23, surface wind 210 degrees 10 knots, clear for takeoff.
Runway 21 cleared for takeoff, right turnout, will report overhead Biggin Hill. Formula 1. Excellent. Guys, let's do it. Parking brake released. Go for around 40% N1. We are all stabilised and advancing the thrust levers to approximately our target N1. There we are, and then TMS will do the rest for us. Right, light forward pressure on the control column and takeoff thrust set indications.
Alive, both sides.
Thanks, Jim.
80 knots cross-checked.
Releasing forward pressure.
V1. Rotate.
There you go, not long at all.
V2.
We're airborne. Gears up, maintaining 135 knots. We'll wait to 1,000 feet for that right turn to 220. There we are. There's track 220 until we're 1 mile away from Biggin Hill, which will be here. There's 220. Just pitching up to maintain 135 knots. There's 1 mile, and let's start that right turn. Now I'm going to put climb thrust 90%. Lower the nose to maintain 185 knots, and we're going to take 30 degrees angler back. Just maintain around 500 feet per minute. Don't let off yet. Trim. Wait until 185 knots. We'll probably leave the flaps out until Jim says for this initial turn. One to go. Bring up the SID, there you go, you can see where we are. Push angler back there. Beyond 30, that's a little bit too much. So sensitive. Too much thrust off there. There's the radial coming in, but we're going to overshoot that. There's nothing we can do. Can't really bank beyond 30 degrees there. Not quite overhead. Just want to accelerate a little bit quicker, so just lower that nose further. There we are. We'll go wings level here. We'll intercept this radial on the outbound. I'll turn the volumes down in a second, guys. We can now accelerate as well. That's better. There's 3,000 feet, so levelling off. I'll leave the thrust where it is so it can accelerate. There's the radial going to come in any second now. There's the radial coming in, so we're going to go outbound there. Oh, we're so close, look.
Formula 1, contact temps direct, frequency
132.7 Formula 1, bye-bye. Well, Jim's a bit late, so I'm going to select flaps up now. Still maintaining 3,000 and hand fly. Don't descend. Just going to intercept that radial, get to 250 knots. Oh, look, see how the aircraft's descending? Oh, that's because of the flaps retracting. Oh, Jim must have fallen asleep. He didn't tell me to select the flaps up. So there we are, getting established on the 095 outbound. Just get back up to 3,000 feet. Accelerate to 250. Get the autopilot in, because I'm absolutely... You can't do anything else. Right, sync. Let's use the sync feature. That's brought the flight directors up. There we go. And autopilot's on. And arm. Altitude. And Vorlock. Get established outbound localizer, and we'll check in with departures. There's 250 knots coming up, so we'll just reduce thrust as well. Thames radar, hello, it's Formula 1. We're on the Lid 2 departure, maintaining 3,000 feet inbound Detling. Why can't I hear anyone there? 132.7, yeah. Thames radar, Formula 1. He's talking to me, but I can't hear him. Why can't I hear him? Hold on. I think I've got a problem with my VATSIM radio. Why can't I hear him?
Air France 388, route direct lock, Lima Alpha Romeo Charlie Kilo.
Slight radio issue there.
So we say again, please, Air France 388.
Yeah, for some reason the VATSIM audio codec on the settings went to 0%. So just maintain 250 knots at 3,000 feet, as per the SID. We were obviously cleared to 3,000 feet. Manual thrust or reduced thrust here, looks to maintain 250.
Alpaca 38, Echo, climb now, flight level 190.
Why so low? This is completely normal, Ethan. For a lot of departures out of London, they keep you low because of the airspace above. I should be able to hear you now. It's Formula 1 maintaining 3,000 feet on the Lid 2.
Formula 1 Thames right to Helio, climb now, flight level 110.
Climb now, flight level 110. Formula 1. I keep trying to say alpaca. Right, 110 is set. Do you have to take off check this in a second? So indicated airspeed, maintain 250 knots in this case. Adding climb thrust now.
And Air France 388, contact Gatwick direct now, 126.
90%. So we'll set standard, which we can sync now, look. 123.
Could you please give me the frequency again, Air France
Just trying to control the volumes here, guys, for everything here. There we are, after takeoff checklist coming up then. So let's have a look at the checklist.
Thank you, F1388.
So gear is up, lights. Oh my god. Did I not put the gear up? Oh, no. I thought it was being a bit slow. That's why we didn't get the flaps up call. Did I not push the G button? Oh, I'm going to get so much stick for that. Unbelievable. I don't think I've ever forgotten to do that before. Right, now it's climbing properly. I thought the thrust was a bit high to maintain 250 knots. That's a lot quieter as well. Right, gears up, flaps up, TMS is quiet. I've got bright red, engineers on. Hey, please on, start the switches off. Pressurization checked. Bernie, I'm so sorry. Altimeters as required. I have no excuses for that one. AC pump can come off. AC pump off. Oh dear. Right, vertical speed. Vertical speed. Oh no, sink. Now, I'm really interested to play the stream back because did I? Alright, it's 2,000 feet per minute, just reducing thrust down to maintain 250. Now, really interesting because I think, did I say gear up on departure? Because I might have pushed it and then I was not in the game, I was clicked out of it, which is why it didn't work. Interesting. No excuses for that one. Right, want to go. Oh no, we're going to 110, so we'll leave it at 2,000 feet per minute at the moment, 250, right. I'm thinking I've forgotten something. Oh yeah, it was only the gear. Unbelievable. The altitude, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, it really one short. You did say it. There you go. I did say gear up. Now, I think when I pushed it, because, you know, it's not something I forget raising the gear. I think what happens is, look, if you click out the game, look, and you press buttons, it doesn't work. So I think what happened was climb flight level 120 and now inbound to LEGE, Formula 1. Oh my goodness me, I'm losing the plot in the moment. Come on, man. Right, heading select. Sorry, I feel really bad because I'm too busy forgetting about the gear. Right, heading select. Where is the heading bug? Let's turn inbound to LEGE. We've overshot it just a little bit. Just a little bit. And let's have a look here. Nothing to see here where the aeroplane is. 151. And 11. Oh, port lock as well. And we've got one to go. Oh my goodness me. Everything has gone to pot. Honestly, the test sector, brilliant. No problems whatsoever. Flight level 10. Ah, this. Dang it. You're calling the brakes, absolutely, Captain. That's it. That's it. And there's 110. Altitude locked. And it won't be able to get us any higher, look, because there's aircraft flying all over the place. Classic London airspace. Why is the aircraft descending? That I don't actually know. There we are, now it's level off at 110. We'll accelerate to 280 knots and we'll request further climb shortly. And we'll arm full lock. There we are, back, going to accepting the VOL. Damn. Just like Bottas could in FP1, absolutely. Check. Climb now, flight level 190, Formula 1. Yeah, 190 checked. And we want... No, we don't want IS hold at 300 knots, it's a little bit fast. I'm just going to bring the speed back to 280 and then press IS hold and then climb. Jamley, did I set standard? That I did remember, look, 1013. But that is a classic example of me, you know, with the workload going high. So I had problems with the VATSIM radio, which obviously, you know, 2 minutes trying to fix the audio doing that whilst levelling off there, which meant I took my off the ball. It was a little bit late spotting that the gear had, you know, was still extended. There we go, IS, and climb thrust 90%. You know, the workload got very high, spotted other things here. Going on VATSIM, you know, obviously having to deal with ATC increases your workload considerably. And having a few issues there with the radio took my capacity away from what is important, which is fly the aeroplane. Out arm, thanks guys. Yeah, it's just like in the 727. Christian, excuses, absolutely. I've got plenty more. There's nothing more important than the pilot's excuse book. I've got 4 lock arms. Hopefully it'll make a left turn to intercept the correct radio. That's me. Unicom 122.8 Formula 1. Thanks a lot for the ATC this evening. Bye. Come on, Vorlock. Why are you not turning? There we go. Vorlock's engaged. Anthony's got a filing cabinet full of them. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right, we've got a lid, and now I'm actually going to revert to RNAV for the rest of this initial part of the routing. We're using VOR, conventional navigation on the way in, of course. So we've got RNAV engaged, LNAV's engaged, and now it's following the GPS signal from the FMS. Routing inbound to Odabu. There's no ATC now, so I'm going to go straight up to flight level 310, and we'll do the pre-cruise checks here. So, navigation's all good. Pre-cruise checks.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Thanks, Bernie, for the £1. We need a word about my fuel bills flight deck to sim. Thanks, Bernie. Appreciate it. We'll get you there in one piece. Oh, now I'm putting generators offline because I'm trying to zoom in. Oh, nightmare. Thanks a lot for your generosity displayed there, Bernie. Very kind. Thank you. Right, let's do the pre-cruise check. So, fuel. That was me accidentally turning the generator offline as I was trying to use the scroll wheel. We're burning fuel from the wing tanks, looking good, and the configuration is fine. The feed tanks have fuel. I haven't had any issues with those feed tanks getting low like I did on the inaugural stream. I think I might have fixed that. So that's done. Lights, we can turn them off. RFIP's off, we're not using it. Pressurization, that's down here by the FO's knee. Cabin rate is climbing at around 500 feet per minute. Pressurization's here, 3 psi. Cabin altitude 6,500 feet. So that's checked. Release the passengers. There we are. Checks complete. Finally on our way. I'm so embarrassed. God, thank you. I can't believe. Well, no. I correct myself. I didn't forget the gear. I pressed it. I'm adamant I pressed it. But because I clicked out of the X-Plane client to do something probably with Streamlabs or VATSIM, I think I know what it was. I think I turned VATSIM down, and because I clicked out of it, and you can't look. You can hear me bashing on the keyboard right now. Look, it doesn't do anything if you've clicked out. You'll see my mouse now appear in the window. There we are. Click back in, and now my buttons work. There you are. That's my excuse. Checks complete. Big Comberg pilot's excuse work is around 600 pages. Yes.
10.
Brilliant. Blame Jim, I would. Thanks to Icefire for the $2. He says hard landing excuse memory items. Hard landing. I haven't done a hard landing in this aircraft yet, but now I've probably jinxed it. But I've definitely forgotten the landing gear excuse memory items. Thanks a lot, Icefire. Thanks for continuing to support money. Cheers. My oh my. And the thing is, look at my view here. If you look where the gear lever is with this view, the standard view I have, you can't actually see what the position of the gear is. Look, so I've got it there, and you can't tell that where the gear is. What the giveaway was, you heard the sound, and that was actually quite realistic. You hear the sound from the nose gear and the main gear, the airflow. As soon as I put the gear up, and I was wondering, I was looking at when we were level at 250 knots, I was thinking, oh, that's a really high N1 to maintain 250 knots. It's only about 10% less than climb thrust. I think we had about 80% N1 to maintain 250 knots. Because I had the sodding gear down still. Oh dear. Oscar, air analysis, 100 feet HL, you said gear up. It made the sound of gear retracting. Didn't check for lights, 2 minutes later, lever was visibly down. Interesting, Oscar. Maybe I knocked it. Maybe I accidentally pushed the button and the gear extended again. It'd be interesting to play it back. I'm not going to now, but I'll play the stream back later. Perhaps I accidentally pressed G again, or there was a bug with the... yeah, it was a bug, guys. It was a bug. Yeah, it's... You know, you don't forget to raise the gear. In the sim, it's so easy, you just press G. Interesting. Michael, you're supposed to always verify an action. Well, yes, in a single desktop simulator, it is somewhat different from physically grabbing the lever and putting the lever up in the real aircraft, I will have to say, as opposed to pushing a button on your keyboard. And I don't have an FO, so it's quite hard to... Maybe it extended again. But there's no requirement to verify the gears up on departure. You can tell. In the real aircraft, you're sat here. In the 737, you've got a bright green and red light. So if you put the gear up and you have 3 red lights, you're going to know straight away if it's not retracted.
50,
you know,
40,
it's much more
30,
difficult in a desktop sim to
20,
realise these things.
10.
Thank you, Daniel. He says, £1.46, see what you did there. Thanks, Daniel. Box for new gear. Box. Thanks for another PA146 stream so soon. Thank you very much, Daniel, and for the continued support as a member. Very, very kind. Glad you're enjoying the stream so far. Thank you. Oh dear. Anthony, yeah, Bug, yes, that's the ticket, Bug, absolutely. Cam's pilot will accept blame if that helps. That's the dev from the engine developer. I was joking. Excellent aircraft. Love it. Blame the co-pilot, you've got it, Legless Kiwi. Blame X-Plane, yeah, absolutely.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Thanks, Snatch of Flops, for the £5.
The stewards will investigate flight deck 2 sim after the flight for a possible landing gear violation.
Unbelievable. Excellent, Pete. Very, very kind. Oh dear. Yeah, report to the stewards for forgetting to raise the gear. My goodness me. Right, anyway, these things happen. I'll blame X-Plane 11. I'll blame everyone but myself. Very, very funny. Cam's pilot says, I'm the co-pilot, so be kind. Oh, is that your actual voice? That's probably why. So something I noticed, Cam's pilot, on the climb out, I didn't get the flaps up call from the virtual first officer, and I know why. It's because the gear was probably down, so it's probably threw it off a little bit there. Anti TLT and biscuits, yes. Oh dear. Randomized Aviation says, hopefully your company doesn't see the stream, but they're well aware of my channel, as is my head of trading, who was a colleague of mine when I worked in the trade department. Taught me quite a lot as well. He knows about the channel. Hopefully he's not watching. Aaron Hastings says G in chat. Unbelievable. Right, anyway, let's get rid of the charts here, talk a little bit about where we are currently routing to. So, geographically, we're just over the channel, over the Strait of Dover. You can see we're heading southbound. We're going to go right over the top of Paris and then continue pretty much directly south across the kind of east or southeast coast of France here, the Mediterranean. We'll start our descent here. We'll talk about descent planning, what we're going to do overhead Perpignan, and then inbound to Girona. There is our destination, just northeast of Barcelona. It's one of the secondary airports serving the city of Barcelona there. Michael, I was just practicing wind shear escape. Absolutely, yes. Leave the configuration exactly where it is. That's what exactly I was trying. Right, anyway. Flight level 310 up to the service ceiling today. You can already see the performance of the aircraft is dropping off considerably. We have our climb thrust around 90%. Actually, that's something I forgot to do here with the TMS. We should be on sync. Sync on engine number 1. And that just ensures the TMS, I think, matches the approximate N1 to your thrust setting there. It says in the manual that target N1 in the climb of 90%, sort of around that thrust setting there. There'd be a finer tuned target for best fuel burn based off the external conditions, but for us today that's completely fine, below the TGT 840 around 817. Yeah, so 310, performance is dropping off. We're maintaining indicated airspeed in the climb. I'm now going to convert to Mach because we're close to MMO here, so I'm going to pitch now to maintain a fixed Mach number. We're going to cruise a decimal 6.8 today, and we're doing just shy of that. So now we're now obtaining a Mach number. You'll notice the rate of climb will increase because if we maintain a fixed indicated airspeed in the climb, your Mach number will increase, but if you maintain a Mach number in the climb, your indicated airspeed will slowly decrease, and the aircraft will continue to pitch up to maintain that target Mach in the climb there. So yeah, we're on LNAV, following the flight management computer, as we would be doing in a 737, but if you have a look on our routing here, we'll eventually get to a VOR called Charlie Foxtrot Alpha. Now, off the top of my head, I think, well, I don't know if it is, let's look it up. I can't remember what this VOR is called. Clermont-Ferrand Avonguer, Charlie Foxtrot Alpha. Frequency is 1435, so when we get a bit closer, we can have the nav information from that VOR. So we'll make that active on both mine and Jim's side. There we go. And then when we pass over that VOR, we'll tune up the next VOR, which is the Mond VOR, and then we'll talk about descent planning, how we're going to work that out conventionally using DME information. Flight time is going to be around an hour, 30 minutes. Oh, I've not even had any comments yet in chat. Look what I forgot to set. I think if we had, I reckon, how long have we been able? 20 minutes? If we had 20 minutes to the timer, that'll be fine. Oh dear. I'm really annoyed because I've worked really hard for this stream. I mean, 2 test sectors.
50.
Even tested
40,
the updated version
30,
that came out this morning.
20, 10.
Thank you very much, Daddy. That's very kind. Thanks for the £2. As Hi Captain, got a question. I'm a beginner. To navigate from nav 8 to nav 8, I'm getting used to the nav displays on the 737 and 320, where you can see the aircraft flies from above. But how do you do that in the older aircraft? Thank you very much, Danny. So the technique you can use can vary considerably. So if you're flying from VOR to VOR, which would be the way you'd want to be navigating in an aircraft like that, unless you're using INS, where you can use other waypoints, you'd be tuning the VOR you're flying inbound to. So eventually we're using conventional navigation, obviously, but we're going to be eventually flying inbound to the Charlie Foxtrot Alpha VOR, which is 1435. We'll then tune the nav aid and identify it when it gets a bit closer. You can find out what radial you're on by tuning in the course, the inbound course, and then looking at the tail of the needle here. So obviously, you know, let's imagine we're flying inbound the VOR now. There's quite a strong crosswind coming in from the right. So the nose of the aircraft's pointing here, our heading's around 165, but we're tracking around, what's that, 156. So the wind's coming in from the right. And then as you get close to the beacon, you'll approach the VOR and you'll approach something called the cone of confusion, where the information isn't that accurate. You just maintain your fixed heading, or you can perhaps set your next heading, and then you want to be flying outbound from that VOR. You just set the course there and then line up the HSI. It again is far easier for me to kind of demonstrate it as opposed to explain it. But if you have a look at any of my playlists in the FlyJSim 737-200 or 727, it's a combined playlist. Pretty much every single stream I've used either INS or conventional navigation, and I've described it. In the first FlyJSim 737-200 stream, I used only conventional navigation, so you'll find that useful. Thank you very much for your donation, very kind. Yep, thanks for the John Poundfield, the Are You Real Pilot emojis. It's been in use a lot here today. David Moore, that's 2 points on your super license. Plainly, your airphones have been much too busy collecting and pointing out all the other things. Unbelievable. Jamlin, I wonder if the 146 was ever fitted with SEVA. No idea. No idea. Anyway, let's do some external shots. I quite like the 100. It's just really stubby. Sounds on the singer awesome. Oh, N2, the clock was noticed, trust me. Mr. McSpooks, I know this is a 737 question, but for life of me, I can't remember what the CWS autopilot buttons are for and when to use them. Can you enlighten me? Well, firstly, I've never used control wheel steering in my entire career flying the 737. But essentially what control wheel steering does, it lets you set the attitude, your target attitude, by manipulating the control column, and then when you let go of the control column, the autopilot will hold the attitude or the angular bank at which you've let go of the control column. It essentially turns the control column into the joystick that you find on the Airbus A320 series there. Again, I've never used it in the real aircraft. One situation where it's recommended to be used is in severe turbulence to hold your attitude, but I've never really experienced that sort of level of turbulence where the normal autopilot can maintain altitude. So that's the way you can use it here. Now, on the 146, it has a sort of control wheel steering autopilot system. We went into a lot of detail about this on the first stream. So I'm sort of in level change at the moment, maintaining a Mach number, if I could compare it to the 737. But how the vertical speed system works is really cool. So if I revert here to vertical speed, the aircraft's now just going to maintain this vertical speed. And if I want to change it, there's a little button on the control column here called Sync. Now, I have assigned that button to a button on my Thrustmaster joystick. So when I hold that button down, you'll see Sync appear here. There you go. And then you can just set your attitude to your requested vertical speed using the control column. So let's say I want to climb at 1,000 feet per minute. I just gently pitch up whilst holding the Sync button down. And then once you have your target vertical speed, let go of the Sync button. There you go. And now the autopilot will re-engage in vertical speed and maintain that vertical speed just there. So obviously I don't want to maintain the vertical speed because the aircraft's going to start slowing down. So let's now hold the Sync button down. We'll just pretty much level off, or just give ourselves a very slight climb. There we are, around 200 feet per minute. Let go of the Sync button, and the aircraft's now going to maintain around 200 feet per minute. Once we get back to our target climb Mach number of about 0.68, so pretty much there already. There's the needle, and we'll go back to Mach hold in the climb there. So that's the Sync feature with vertical speed. Really like that, and I'll be using that on the approach today later on. Better just make sure that's armed. Yes, 310 is armed there. Saz says, hello Captain, long time no see, good day to you. Guru says, got to go, 10:52 local. I think that's evening for you, Guru, isn't it? Because I think you're east of me, I believe. But good evening to you, a pleasant evening, or morning if I perhaps got that wrong. James Monks, I really enjoy the 146, especially using it conventionally with navigating. Yes, I mean, I'm sort of not using conventional navigation at the moment, but this aircraft, you can pretty much fly it just like you can with just conventional navigation. Waypoint Richie, I think that's your renewal coming in. If so, thank you for the continued support, or if you just rejoined again, thanks for coming back. I think that's over 6 months that you have been a member of this channel for, and of course, I'm sure you're already familiar with everything that goes on in Discord, but welcome back, sir. Thank you very much. Excellent. Cam's pilot, the sounds recorded at a very rainy RAF Norfolk just before lockdown. Is that for the 146? Very cool. I think the sounds are awesome on this thing. Yes, listen to the flyby here. Actually, I need to turn up the exterior for this, because it sounds wicked. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen that video. There's a video on YouTube of a guy, well no, I say a guy, it's one of these radio balloons that's got a camera on it, and a jet just happens to fly by closely, and it sounds just like this. Awesome. Love the bass as well. It's to the bass when it just goes past. Wicked. Oh look, I think we're right overhead Paris. There is Paris down there. Oh, can't get my head any more than that. Bonjour. Loud, sorry headphone users. That's better. That's also zoom level 17. Salut, says Todd. Forget today, man, very good. Atomic, that video is called Airplane Flyby Captured by Weather Balloon. There you go. Jump into the business end. Now we're approaching flight level 310. When we level off, we'll need to reduce the thrust. I found at 310 at this gross weight around 87-88% N1 needed to maintain decimal 7. Sorry, 6.8 or so. MMO's decimal 7.2, I think, or 7.0. It's very slow, this aircraft. We're about as high as this aircraft would ever operate as well, but we are only carrying 50 passengers today. There's out, hold, slowly reduce that thrust. That 88% works quite nicely, I found. What we'll do, we'll just bug our target speed. There we are. So remember, there's no auto throttle, but what we can do is bug 6.8, sorry, and you can see we've got our little orange circle to reference, tell us if we're going fast or slow. So we'll just adjust thrust, or keep adjusting thrust to keep that circle in the middle there. And there we are, flight level 310 reached. Now, for situation awareness, what I'm going to do here is bring up the fixed page and just type in Girona. Now, this is just to give a rough idea of our ETA. 53 minutes is the great fly, so about another hour's flight time, 407 miles. But I'm going to talk to you about descent planning, how to do it conventionally without that. It's just to give us some situation awareness there. Captain Sim, you just subbed. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel. Rory Shield, what's more important is what's in the menu in the bag. We've got F1 Manager in the bag there, so yes, I don't know, escalopes and caviar and oysters. just the best, just for the best for the Formula 1 management team. I'm still really, I can't believe the gear thing on departure. Really miffed about that. Really miffed. It sounds like it retracted from what you guys were saying. I don't know. If I said, you just don't forget to put the gear on. I obviously didn't, so I pressed G. Something happened there. Anyway. Excellent question, Todd. Quick question. Can you leave the spoilers deployed during turns, or will this make the plane unstable? In the 737, you can turn with the speed brakes extended, and the autopilot will manage that quite nicely. But if you are hand flying with the speed brakes extended and you turn, the aircraft's roll rate is increased considerably, and it can catch you out. I remember hand flying once with the speed brake out, and I started turning. It was like, oh, it's rolling very quickly because the spoilers are already extended. But no, there's no restrictions associated with that. Gavin Dresser, I haven't seen you around here, welcome aboard, buddy. If you want to really stretch the aircraft's capabilities, try flying to Sochi, tech stopping in Turkey, like they did in real life. Golf Foxtrot Foxtrot Mike, which is the aircraft we're in, was also altitude limited to flight level 280, unlike Mike Sierra Tango Romeo Yankee. Now that's their Avro. Formula 1 management have two of these aircraft. One's a 146, the other's an Avro RJ, and I think that's what that reg is. So probably we're a little bit higher than we should be. Perhaps, I'm not too sure. I kind of went, the Simbury flight plan actually had me up at 330, and I thought, oof, that's a little bit high. Because one thing I've noticed, look, at 31,000 feet, look, the cabin altitude very high here at 9,200, and we can verify that here on the pressurization panel. Cabin altitude, look, just over 9,000. So I'm guessing this is quite realistic. If I go any higher, I'm really pushing it for the cabin altitude. I don't want it to be any higher than 9,000. If it was above 9,000 to 737, something's wrong. That's for sure. Adam McCabe, how much mental mathematics is needed for flight training in your opinion? Now, during flight training, you're going to use much more maths than you would do on a day-to-day life, in your day-to-day life in the 737. Now, the most maths you're ever going to do is kind of converting fuel density to your gross weight. That's the only time I really use a calculator in the aircraft. During your initial flight training, you'll do nothing more than use trigonometry and cosines for latitude and longitude calculations, which is long I haven't used since I did my flight training. But yeah, GCSE maths in the UK is as much as you'll need for flight training. If you feel like you're capable of completing A-level maths, absolutely 100% recommend it. That would make you very comfortable during your flight training. Same with physics as well. I didn't take A-level maths or physics. I did get a B in my science and maths, which was sufficient. However, you know, I did have to think a little bit harder, perhaps, than some of my colleagues. But you know, I didn't ever find it taxing, or to the point where I couldn't work it out during my flight training. I'd probably struggle now, though. But best of luck if you're commencing your training, Adam. Atomic Penguin, Boeing 738 situation. You need to land just after departure. What's the procedure to burn off fuel? How much flaps, perhaps gear down? Great question, Atomic Penguin. Now, in certain situations, we can land over weights. That's whenever, say, the QRH directs us to land at the nearest suitable airport. And then there's no restriction to your landing weight whatsoever. You land based off whatever your present weight is, you know, after you've completed the applicable checklists. However, if it's, say, a flap issue after departure, or if the QRH after a non-normal situation doesn't tell you to land at the nearest suitable airport, but you wish to divert for whatever reason, yes, if you position yourself at a hold, high fuel burn, I'd lower the gear, flaps 5 or 10 probably, and just go around in circles. I wouldn't really want to fly with the speed brake out. I mean, you could if you really wanted to get down quickly, but yeah, whatever it takes to get that landing weight below 65 tons. But sat in the hold, burning it, gear down, yeah, that would be prudent. Right, over our next INS waypoint, so we are now... Hold on, have I not been paying attention? Yeah, I'm on the second page, that's why. Yeah, we're inbound to Okeko, so we're just waiting for that VOR Charlie Foxtrot Alpha, which I think is now identified. We have the range here, so the way we check this without fancy NDs to check the Morse code. So the Morse code for Charlie Foxtrot Alpha, I don't know this off by heart, I just have the chart referenced in front of me here, is going to be dash dot for Charlie, dot dash dot for Foxtrot, and dot dash for Alpha. So if we go down here, go to nav 1, push that in, turn it all the way up first. We can verify if it's the correct VOR. Turn the music off. Did you hear that? Charlie Foxtrot Alpha. So listen up for Charlie. Dash dot dash dot. Here comes Foxtrot. And here's Alpha. There you go. So that's identified. So we're happy that nav1 is the correct frequency. This is the way you need to do it. It's the way I did on my instrument rating. Not to be confused here, the FMS is routing towards this waypoint here, Okeko. But this is this HSI is only based off conventional navigation. So this DME is the DME distance from Charlie Foxtrot Alpha, 130 miles. So you have DME ground speed here. Now, when you're flying direct to the VOR station and the distance is, you know, outside of 20 miles, the ground speed information is reasonably accurate. But as you get closer to the VOR, the ground speed information as you approach the cone of confusion is not accurate. You'll see as we fly right over the beacon later, the ground speed will decrease all the way to 0, and then when we fly away from the beacon, it'll start increasing again to this approximate speed as well. Nice little bit of mathematics then for you today. How long is it going to take us to get to Charlie Lima Mike? Well, that's your distance, speed, time calculation. So you need to know 2 of the 3 in the equation. So we know our distance, we know our speed. So we've got 125 miles. So let's put 124. Our ground speed is 437. So divide that by 437, times that by 60. It'll be 17 minutes. In 17 minutes, we'll be directly overhead Charlie Lima Echo. So we can work out our ETAs if you know your speed and distance. If you know either your distance, speed, or time, you just need to know 2 in the equation to calculate the other one. This is why flight simulation is very useful, because it kind of keeps you fresh with these sort of mental mathematic calculations, which we don't apply because in an aircraft like the 737 or the A320, which is what 95% of short-haul, medium-haul airline pilots are flying, it tells all the information for us. So flying around an aircraft like this, it keeps you fresh, and I've improved, I should say, since I've started the channel and flying aircraft like this, my ability to calculate these calculations. I'll certainly use a calculator, remember the formula to work it out on a calculator at least. Cool. Guys, if you are enjoying the stream, don't of course forget to smash the thumbs up button as well. We're almost halfway for this lovely sector to Girona. Please accept my apologies. I'm so embarrassed with the gear issue earlier, but I'm pretty confident it wasn't my fault. But I've got used every excuse in the book. I won't do that again, that's for sure. But, yeah, looking forward to the approach into Girona. Hopefully we'll recover and get Bernie there nice and safely. Awesome. So when we get overhead, the VOR, Charlie Foxtrot Alpha, if I bring up the flight plan here, I'll show you where we're overhead, or where we're going to be overhead. Right, we'll do a fuel check. As I've said, I think it's more the sim brief profile than the aircraft. I think the sim brief profile is very conservative for this particular variant of the 146-100. Now, don't use the BA 146 sim brief profile, use the RJ Avro equivalent. So we're in a BA 146-100, but you'll see I've selected here the RJ 70, which is the equivalent here for the fuel burn, but it is a little bit conservative. Let's bring up Charlie Foxtrot Alpha, the Clermont Ferrand Ovengue VOR, which is currently active, and then we'll do a fuel check there, check the fuel on board and the fuel used as well. How's the sound? It's probably a little bit loud here with the background noises. There we go. Excellent. Lars says, doing maths before starting flight training would give you some spare mental capacity, but not required. The most advanced maths I did before flight training was grade 10 levels. That sounds very difficult. Adam, thanks to you for studying architecture, so I use calculus for large equations, just not much mental maths. Wow, you're probably better than me, Adam. Philip, Captain from Toronto. Excuse me. I often can't watch your videos live, but always enjoy catching them afterwards. Thanks to the amazing videos. Thank you very much, Philip, and good afternoon to you from Toronto. So you see that target N1 we have, around 87.5%, 88% is working really nicely. I haven't touched that since top of climb. We're just slightly below our target speed, but I'm not going to touch it. Leave it exactly where it is. Actually, let's have a look here at the weather radar. Pulling the tilt down slightly. I'm not sure. Oh, it should be on weather then. Yeah, I don't want to pick up any ground returns. Don't think so. Keep a close eye on it. Funny comment there. Right, let's have a little catch up here. Wilhelm, hi, Flight Sim, saying hello now because you're too busy on departure. I purchased the BAE yesterday. It's great fun. Can't wait for an Alpaca Airways and Alpaca Air cargo livery. It's on the way. Jamlin, my man, has almost completed it. I did say last stream next one will be an Alpaca Airways, but I thought of doing this stream a couple of days ago. I thought, oh, that's a really cool stream to do in the F1 livery, so I jumped the gun and did this one. And then we'll definitely do a 2-sector in the 146. Much more confident in this aircraft than I was on the first stream as well, getting it set up. Just don't know how to raise the gear, that's all. Peter F, hi pilots. Have you ever been type rated on the 146? Absolutely not, Peter F. I've only type rated on the 737. 300 NG, but I've only ever flown the NG. Roy Shields, push the levers forward to go, pull them back to stop. Pretty much it. John Panfield, do you take a calculator into the flight deck? Probably got one on the iPad. We do have one on the iPad, of course, but no, I have my Casio calculator, standard GCSE issue, which I've had since I was probably 10 years old, or whenever I started secondary school, and I still use it to this day as a captain 25 years later. You know. I quite like the fact that it still works perfectly. Romulus, here we go. You said gear up, there was an audible clunk, and Jim said gear up too, but next time the handle comes into view, it's definitely down. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder if I knocked G then or something. Not sure. Who knows? We'll never know, I don't think. I'll never know. Oh dear. And you know what would have fixed it, Romulus, as well, is if I did a flight. You know how I always do a fly past immediately after departure? That would have. That's usually would have been a trigger to go, oh look, the gear's still down, let's put it up. But because it was such a complex departure with that initial turn, I didn't do the fly past. I wanted to be in the cockpit there. Otherwise, I flew it very nicely, although with the gear extended. Aaron Hastings, do you find it difficult sometimes to remember everything ATC told you? Things like taxiway squawk frequencies. I find it quite difficult, but do you get better at it? Yes. The more you do, Aaron, the more competent you get at knowing what to expect to hear. Certainly, though, with taxiing, write it down. It's exactly what we're doing in the real aircraft. When I was an FO, I had a pen and paper ready, wrote the taxi instructions down, and then we copy it into the FMS scratchpad. The reason we copy it into the FMS scratchpad is because the captain who's taxiing can look down and see the taxi instructions. Absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Clearances are also written down as well. And en route, you don't obviously have time to write it down, but ATC are very good at limiting the amount of information. The most they're going to give you is a frequency change and perhaps a clear level and a heading. Sometimes they give you a bit too much. Do not hesitate to say again if you didn't get the instruction clearly. It's very important that all that information is copied and understood. Kurosh, for times when the airport charts don't mention landing distances, is it a good idea to use a scale on the map ground chart to figure it out? Absolutely, Kurosh, that's what we do. Not many charts show you the landing distances available based off you trying to maintain a certain you try and vacate at a certain airport. Let's actually have a look here in Girona. No idea if the charts will say anything here. Let's have a look here at the airport chart. So on the main airport chart here, if you have the scale here, and that's exactly, honestly guys, we actually use this scale if there's no landing distance information, if we want to say particularly, if we want to vacate a certain exit. So we'll probably want to vacate at Echo 3 today, and we know the runway's 2,400 metres, and we know the usable distance for landing beyond the threshold's 2,240. You have takeoff run available, so you could sort of work backwards, but what you'll sometimes find is on the airport briefing section. There's 4 pages here. They might give you, well, Barcelona certainly does. Barcelona will give you the landing distance available to vacate at each exit on each runway. So we'll say, yeah, Echo 2, you need this, is this distance, Echo 3 is this distance, and it's in the aerodrome information section. Looks like many airports, Girona doesn't provide that information. So speed restrictions, CDAs, last page, but I think that's for departures. Yeah, so it doesn't mention it there. But yeah, get the scale out. That's exactly what you do. Just get a piece of paper and put it against the runway. It's pretty archaic, and then just round it up to the nearest 100 meters to be conservative. John Franco, remember the days of plotting your VFR course on a protractor type E6B calculator? Absolutely, John. You'd get your nav chart out, you draw your line, get your protractor, work out your magnetic, work out your true track, and then you apply your variation to work out your magnetic track. Yep, that's how I did my PPL and initial part of the CPL. Probably all done online now. Karen Henson says, can you have a word, Captain, with Bernie? I'm looking for a sugar daddy. Get your name? No.
30.
Karen,
40,
behave yourself.
10.
Fab aircraft so well modelled. Thank you, Karen.
Not impressed with your performance today. I think we'll have to swap you for another pilot mid-flight. Checo, get up here. It's your turn at the controls.
Helmut Marko, Chief Red Bull, who's well known for swapping his drivers mid-season, now wishes to swap me mid-flight with Checo. He's obviously hitched a ride for the Spanish Grand Prix. Thank you very much, Helmut Marko. I never knew you were a fan. And I'll go get my parachute ready. Descend to a safe altitude. Thank you very much. Unbelievable. Whoever you people are, great sense of humour, and thank you so much for your generosity as well. So funny. Oh dear. Yes, Mixter McSpooks, the mystery of the Phantom Gear Lever, absolutely. Matthew Lloyd, extract helped with the turn radius, absolutely. Get my speed under control. Oh dear. Gareth Roberts, if you're not type rated, it doesn't matter about minor mistakes, don't stress. Oh, I'm not stressed, Gareth. I like the banter, but obviously these streams are sort of, they're a little bit of fun and entertainment, but they are sort of, you know, be showing you my capabilities, let's say, in a desktop simulator based off my experience. So it's very embarrassing to do something like that. But like I said, I'm pleased to say I don't think it was something I've forgotten. It was more an issue with where I had perhaps had a click spot or something happened to put the gear back down. Certainly, if the FO, we've got accident investigators reviewing the takeoff as we speak. So they've clearly seen that the gear was up. At some point, it was lowered. Anyway. Unbelievable. Gwen Jones, hope you're doing well. Sorry, Mr. Street, no problem. Thank you very much for joining in. John Padfield says parachutes. Yeah, hopefully Helmet's got one. Oscar says, Lewis says the tyres are gone. Do you happen to have them on board? Or the amount of YouTube comments on videos where it's the conversation between Lewis and his race director, what his name is, talking about the tyres. Unbelievable. Does that mean Alex Albon's hiding in the overhead lockers? Yes, ready to take Checo's place when he becomes the captain for today. Unbelievable. Right, anyway, we're approaching the Charlie Foxtrot Alpha VOR. You can see, look, strong wind today. In fact, there's no way of actually calculating the wind here. I mean, you can probably do it with your drifter speed working backwards. But I know I have... No, it's here, isn't it? There's a little flight computer here. There you go, tailwind component, 26 knot, crosswind of 80 knots from the right. Quite a funky little thing, this, but there you go. Look, fuel flow 1,600 kilos an hour at the moment, so definitely less than was predicted. Pretty cool. Range 1,000 nautical miles still. There we are. Plainly, no, it's not embarrassing. It makes you human and lets us relate on. Very kind. Cool. So I'm just having a look on the VATSIM map, seeing what the situations earlier. Let's have a look here. What's this VATSIM map called? There we are. I can see where we are. We do have Barcelona online, so, and he's just about covering Girona, Lima Echo Golf Echo. So certainly for the latter stages of the approach, hopefully he'll give us our landing clearance there. Kurosh, the A300 stream to Copenhagen really shows your capabilities, Captain. Yes, landing the aircraft with the mouse. Hello, buddy. What do you want? Oh. Jack's done the same again. Oh, I completely forgot to mention, if you are into sim racing, tomorrow on the Flight Deck Sim Gaming channel, myself and some of the other members are racing MX-5s. 25-30 minutes of racing around a track I can't pronounce in Rome. So that'll be at 8 PM tomorrow, kind of following on from today's stream. Okay, alright. Go get Mummy. Where's Mummy? Come on. It's just linked to my face. Right, anyway, look at this then. Let's monitor as we fly overhead the VOR here. Bring Girona back up shortly, of course. So you can see, look, we only have 14 miles to run, and you'll notice our ground speed is going to start slowing down. And if you can picture the VOR on the ground, and obviously we're flying above at 31,000 feet, and as we fly directly over the VOR, the miles will not read 0, because it's going to measure basically our altitude in miles. And you'll notice as we fly over the VOR, the ground speed will decrease all the way to 0. You see, it's really beginning to slow down now. And DME speed information is useful, but only kind of outside of 20 miles at this altitude anyway. In the Cessna, it's going to be a bit more accurate until you get right overhead. But you'll see, look, distance now is 9 miles, and the ground speed's really decreasing. over France. Look, well, the VOR is called the Clermont Ferrand VOR, and then there is the town. 7 miles to go. The distance really decreasing. We'll do the fuel check as well. Thanks for reminding me, Mick. Just going to demonstrate what happens to the VOR, and then we'll do that fuel check straight away. Just keep close on our speed. It's just sped up slightly, just below MMO. Miles, and you'll notice the rate of the range has started to increase. It's going to be pretty much, we'll go around to probably 4.5 miles at 31,000 feet. You'll see the needle swing as well. The aircraft's obviously turning to the next waypoint en route. I think left and then right. There you go. 0 over the beacon we go. There's the needle swing. We're 5 miles directly overhead the VOR, and you'll now see the DME distance increasing. 5.1, and then the ground speed will also increase as well. So there you go. Right, let's have a look at the fuel then. So remember we took an additional 1,200 kilos, around 30 minutes. Okay, so we should have 3.2 tonnes on board. We should have around 4.5 based on the extra fuel we took. Actually showing 4 tonnes. How much extra fuel did I take? It was 1,200 kilos, wasn't it? So 3.1, we should have 4.3, and we've got about 4 tonnes. That would suggest we burn a bit of extra fuel. Fuel used then, we should have burnt... It's definitely the correct VOR, isn't it? Charlie Foxtrot Alpha. Yeah, Charlie Foxtrot Alpha. We should have burnt 2,605. Let's have a look at the fuel used here. 720 it'll do, times by 4, 288. So we have actually burnt an extra 200 kilos. I'll put that down to 2 reasons. One, the delayed departure for taxi. And you know what else? You know why I burnt extra fuel, don't you? I'm not going to mention it again. I'm just flying around with the gear down for 5 minutes. And there you go. On the test sector, I actually saved about 200 kilos of fuel. It's amazing the extra fuel burn you get from leaving the gear down. But yeah, 2 reasons then. One, that the SID here, look, deadening lid, it also presumes that I've climbed straight up, look here, to 19,000 feet. Remember, we were restricted to 3,000 feet, so it was a combination having the gear down, low altitude at 3,000 feet for quite a while, which in real life the flight plans will actually incorporate SID restrictions into the flight plan. That's actually something that's worth mentioning to Navigraph now they've taken over SimBrief. Is if they could get SID altitudes to be displayed on the flight plan, that would be much more realistic. But yeah, fuel burn is where we'd expect it to be. We burnt an extra 200 kilos, and we've got about an extra 800 kilos on board, 900 kilos there, so all looking as expected. If the fuel burn is off, you try and find the reasons why. A little bit of investigation, we know exactly why. There we go. Anyway, so we're now flying via Charlie Foxtrot Alpha to Mogdi. And then Mogdi, we're going to be flying to the Mond VOR, which is 15.3. So what we'll do, we'll bring that up on Jim's side first. That's now active. And it looks like we're already inbound to Mond, and we're actually not too far away from top of descent here, guys. So we'll check the ident first. VHF2. Oh no, not VHF2, sorry, NAV2. So Mike Echo November's dash dot. Just turn the music off there so you can hear it. That was Mike Echo November, so we're happy that NAV2 is identified. So based on that information, what I'm going to do is also tune the VOR 15.3, make it active, and then again, even though we've identified NAV2, you need to identify NAV1. There we are. That's Mike Echo November. I don't know Morse code, I just have the charts in front of me. There we go. So now we have the Mont VOR tune, same again, 44 miles away, and we're around 100 miles from top of descent now, so we will start planning our descent into Girona. So let's get some charts up here. So, arrival. We're going to expect a straight-in approach today for runway 20. So it's going to be a Canig 2 Foxtrot. There we go. Approach ILS Zulu for 20. And we'll grab an airport chart as well. Looking good. So, Girona coming in then via Canig. Now we have a restriction of flight level 150 and to be below 150 at or above flight level 100, so we need to be in this window here. Now if you have a look here at the distance from Girona VOR, that's 34 miles, having a look where the Girona VOR is, for all intents and purposes, you know, slightly, you know, on the extended centre line of runway 20, but we'll use that distance based off our distance from the airport. So straight away we can sort of work out what altitude do we need to be at Canig, and everything is based off the 3 times table. So in the 737, even an aircraft like this will presume that for every 1,000 feet we descend, it takes 3 nautical miles. Now the fact of the matter is, this thing here, if you need to get down quickly, you have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. The actual profile of the aircraft, a lot draggier than the 737, and on top of that you've got that whopping great big barn door that you can open in the tail to really increase the drag to also help with your rate of descent as well. We utilise that on our inaugural stream into London City, which I've pinned in the comments section if you wish to review that there. So descent planning isn't such an issue here, but based off the fact we want to be 3 times our height, 34.2, let's call that 35 miles, times that by 3, that's around 10,500 feet we want to be at Canig. So let's aim to be at the lower side of this, flight level 100, especially for a straight-in approach. Now you do have a restriction to be no lower than 80 until you're 20 miles away. That will leave you ever so slightly high, but once you pass 20 miles from Girona, you can start descending to 4,500. Now, I'm not sure if we'll get radar vectors here or not. Now, as Barcelona Centre, they'll be able to take us all the way down on VATSIM into Girona. So we're going to base this on the fact we need to be at flight level 100 at Canig for a straight-in approach. Now, we can work backwards from this. We want to be at flight level 100 from Canig. We're at 31,000 feet, so that means we need to lose 21,000 feet. Okay, 21 times 3 is 63 miles. So 63 miles from Canig, we need to initiate our descent to be at flight level 100. Now, how do I know how far away I am from Canig? I don't know, because well, I've got the FMS. Of course I know I can cheat here, but let's base that off Girona. All you need to do is add 63 to 34 miles. So when we're 97 miles away from Girona, we want to initiate our descent from 31,000 feet to be level at flight level 100 at 97 miles from Girona. Now here's a problem, okay? VORs work off line of sight, and based on the fact there's a lot of terrain here to the north, we won't actually pick up the Girona VOR until we're probably 75-80 miles away, which is 20 miles after the point at which we need to initiate our top of descent. So how are we going to work that out? Well, what we could do is work it out backwards from the Mond VOR, which we're only 20 miles away from. So if I bring up the flight plan, still with me here guys, still with me, here is the Mond VOR, and if you have a look on the flight plan, it is remaining distance, which is this figure here, the third bottom line here, of 164 miles, okay? Now, can you remember how many miles away we said from top of descent we need to be from Reyes to initiate our descent to be level at flight level 100? It was 97 miles. Now, all we need to do is take 164, okay, subtract that from 97 miles, and that means when we're 67 miles away from the Mond VOR, we can initiate our descent, which is the equivalent of 97 miles away from Girona. Okay, so we sort of work backwards using the en route VOR. So 67 miles from Mont, we'll initiate our descent to make around 3,000 feet per minute. I'm going to use probably indicated airspeed hold, but we'll also work out our time, so we can calculate our vertical speed required to make that restriction speed level at flight level 100. I hope you're still with me, guys. You can always play this back multiple times. So the magic number is 67 miles from the Mond VOR, so 67 plus 10, that's going to be 77 miles from now. We'll initiate our descent, so I'm going to make a note of that, 67 nautical miles from Mond, to make that restriction to be at flight level 100 at Canig. So rest of the routing name, we'll get intercepted, we'll intercept then the 015 radial outbound from Canning all the way to the runway. So what I'm going to do is set 195 for the course, and it also is the final approach course. So nice. I chose this airport for a valid reason. No, not only for the fact that it's a Formula 1 weekend, but also it's quite a nice airport to kind of do a straight-in approach and demonstrate descent planning here. So 195 is the course is. We'll just match the heading as well, our present heading. And we would like to have Girona initially on standby, which is at 14.1, which we're going to switch over to, and I'm going to make that active. On Jim's side, the reason is we're currently too far away, but as soon as that DME becomes active, I'm happy we've got it identified, and we'll switch both VORs to Girona, and then once we're on the arrival at Banal, we'll switch over to the ILS frequency, which I'll pre-tune later, and that frequency will be 109.9. So, courses, we know the ILS we can't set yet, we're about to go overhead them on VOR, look, you can see the distance decreasing. Let's check the minimums. Again, I didn't find this out, but I'm using CAT-C for the 146, I'm not sure which category it is in real life. It has a very slow approach speed, so it's probably a lesser category than C, but we'll use it. 242's the decision height. There's no way of setting the MDA. It's usually set on the barrier minimums in the 737. 711 feet. Okay, buddy. Okay. 242 feet. And we'll put 250 here, so we'll get a little minimums call. It's based off the radio altimeter, which might not be accurate because the terrain could be up and down before that point there. Jack, quit it. He's playing with toys behind me. So we're going to intercept then. Looking at the arrival here, coming in via Canning, flight level 100. Once we pass Canning, unless we're under radar control, we'll descend to flight level 80, and we need to maintain flight level 80 until we're 20 miles from Girona. Now that's going to leave us a little bit high on the glide slope. That's due to terrain. As soon as we're 20 miles from Girona, we'll set 4,500 feet and the local QNH. Looking at the weather this evening in Girona, it's just reloading on my phone right now. It is lovely, 2104 knots, 18 degrees, QNH of 1018, few clouds. So we'll set the QNH later on at 1018, and then we'll go to 4,500, and we'll monitor the glide slope to see where we are on profile. Now, if you haven't received ATC clearance by the time you get to Banal, which is a distance of 12 DME from Reyes, you make a left turn into the hold until you get your clearance to fly the approach. So, going over to the ILS chart, we check the frequencies, courses and minimums. There is Banal, which is 12.2 off the Girona VOR, the DME for the ILS 13.3. And we'll go via Banal to Nagsal onto the approach. Platform altitudes are all here. They're coded in the FMS, but we're going to be using conventional navigation pretty much the entire way after Canning, and MSA 9,600 feet, very high to the north. We'll descend down to the minimums. If we have to go around, not sure about the go around sequence of this aircraft, but I'll probably initiate the flap retraction to 18, set 90% N1, raise the gear, which has been an issue today. We're going to climb straight ahead to 3,500, and then we'll make a left turn back to Girona VOR, kind of 5,600 feet. So that's the missed approach. Landing performance then, this aircraft is an absolute beast. Let's keep a look at this distance here. Remember that distance we said, 67 miles. We're going to initiate our descent, so only 40 miles to go. Here's the runway length then, nice and long, 2,400 metres. We'll aim for Echo 3. Fantastic calculation landing performance for you. If you click this, look, it'll update all your bug speeds. VREV, flat 33, 107 knots. I've been assessed there, the cruise speed is ridiculous. This is why it has such epic short takeoff and landing performance. So our final approach speed, guys, is going to be around 112 knots. Unbelievable. Now, set the bug cards. Annoyingly, it updates your present target speed. So I'm going to actually set that back to our present speed, which is decimal 68. And that's it. So I'm going to use flap 33. No reverses, obviously, on this aircraft. We'll extend the speed brake to lift spoilers. And then, yeah, you can stop this in 500 metres if you really wanted to. There we are. Checks complete. Quite a in-depth briefing. If there's anything that confused you, feel free to leave that in the chat now, or even after the video, the comments section below, and I'll happily go into a bit more detail as to what I was calculating there. I hope it made sense there. Plainly, definitely Cat B. Yeah, I think for that approach speed you're right, because the aircraft categories are the same there. Won't make much change. It'll bring our minimums down an extra 10 feet to 240. But I'm happy to say I'm pretty confident that would be the case there. A ducky duck, unbelievable. But you know, my streams are probably pointing towards the more advanced. You know, I try to simplify things as much as possible, and I know I have many viewers with all sorts of experience with flight sims. I do sort of aim my content at the simmer who's reasonably competent, who wants to take it to another step, especially flying a more classic aircraft like this, where you have to do a little bit of mental math calculation to work out your descent points and go from there. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Pan, did Flight Data Sim ever tell the TMS that we're not climbing anymore? Yeah, I think I put that to sync and N1, and then we can use the descent feature, which will ensure a minimum N2, I think. Lars, thanks. Category B VREF 91 to 120 knots. Should have known that. That's standard ICAO speeds. Very good. James Monks, the default toga map button will command pitch up on the flight directors. You still have to advance the thrust levers. Understood, James. So in that case, I have toga assigned to a button on my joystick. So if that happens, you know, at least we know what to do. Be a button. I hope it's a gear down landing. Would be the first time. Excellent. Should get some ATC as well. In the form of Barcelona, and then we'll be looking good. So to assist us, we also have, you know, the distance here from Canning. So what we can do, we can use this distance here, because obviously we're working backwards based off the Mond VOR, which is currently due. As soon as Girona's active, which will come up here, it'll assist us with working out how far we are from Canning. We just have to basically subtract 34 miles from the DME from Girona to work out our distance from Canning. We also have it here to help us. And we can sort of calculate our required vertical speed as well, based off that information. Mick Homburg, 60 miles to lose, 21,000 feet. How do you calculate the feet per minute? So if you've got 60 miles to lose, you've got 21,000 feet. So firstly, you need to know your speed. Okay, so what's our current speed? Let's call it 400 knots. Okay, so 400 knots, 415 knots, and distance, what was it you said? 60 miles. So 60 miles, divide that by our speed, which is 416 knots. Okay, times that by 60. So that's 8.5 minutes, and you say we need to lose 21,000 feet. So 21,000 feet divided by 8.5, that's 2,470 feet per minute, Mick. We'll call it 2,500 for cash. Anyway, we're waiting for 67 miles. 10 miles till top of descent. Well, a little over 10. There's the southeast coast of France coming to view here. Looking good. Done everything. So I'm going to look at the checklist here. So descent preparation. It says put the PTU on for descent in the BAE 146. Interesting. Might put it on then. Later, pressurization set, briefings complete, ice protections as required, landing data completed. It's just the approach checklist coming up later. Matt says always learning a lot. Great with a bit of a learning curve. Thanks, buddy. Pangol is that around Montpellier? No, not too far away. Montpellier is right on the south coast of France, around there. There's the curve. be around there somewhere. Cool. So we can actually work out our required vertical speed sort of exactly as we calculated there for Mick. So 64 nautical miles to go. It's going to be around 61 nautical miles by the time we initiate our descent. So exactly as we calculated, wasn't it? Mick, what was it, 60 miles to lose 2100? What was it we said? 2500 feet per minute? Should we put it to the test then, Mick Homburg? You said 2500 feet per minute. That'll work out quite nicely. So 67. Let's set flight level 100. Love that wheel there. Top of descents in chat. There's arm. I'll select vertical speed. And sync. There's top of descent. So we'll go for 2,500 feet per minute. I need to reduce thrust as well. No water throttle here, and I need to select descent on the TMS. That's me exceeding MMO. Nothing to see here. Let's use the barn door. That will soon get us below it. Oh, it's so effective. It is unbelievably effective. I've just stowed it now, and you can see that the speed's already coming up. Cool. Down we go. So I'm going to maintain around 270-ish knots in descent, so I'll buck that now. Going around 2,500 feet, and then what we'll do when we're around, we're still waiting on the Reyes VOR here, but we've obviously got the we've told you how to work it out backwards, but we've got the Canik distance here. We're about 25 miles away. We'll update that calculation, see what target rate of descent's required to get us nicely at flight level 100 by Girona. So I'm just making small adjustments to maintain speed. Looking good. DRS enabled, unbelievable. That's a spoiler and a half. Absolutely pan, very effective as well. Pangolin, why is a spoiler there rather than the top of the wing? Well, it does have spoilers on the top of the wing, but I think they're only to be used for the landing roll here. But yeah, I mean, just the design features of the aircraft there. You can easily fit it there. By George, it works brilliantly. Excellent look. We've picked up the DME now from Reyes. So what I'll do, I'll make that active, 14.1. We'll put the ILS on standby, which is 1099. And we'll put 1099 active over here. So, we can now work backwards from here, Girona. You can have a rough idea of how far away and how where we should be as well. It's not exactly located on the airfield, but for all intents and purposes, look, it is. Have that there. So we can just further reduce that thrust to maintain our target speeds. Zach J236, is this plane worth it? Yes. I've grown to really love it. Look, no master cautions on here. Looking good. So let's have a little look here at our distance centers. Let's say we're 35 miles from Canik. Okay, so 35 miles. Current speed is 389 knots. Probably a little more than that because the ground speed dropping off. So we'll divide that by 390. That's going to probably decrease. Times that by 60. So it's about 5.5 minutes until we get to Canik. Let's call that 5 minutes. And we've got to lose another 12,000 feet. So 12,000 feet divided by 5 minutes. Required rate of descent, 2,400 feet per minute. And that's exactly where we want it to be. And this should get us to be exactly at flight level 100 at Canik. Now, you want to be a little bit conservative, so probably best go 2,600, and then you can just shy that rate of descent to say 1,000 feet per minute for the last minute. But yeah, you want to try and make that restriction there. Danny, do people you've flown with as an FO know you? Well, as flight deck to sim? Oh yes, plenty of my colleagues do. I mean, the company are well aware of what I do, and most of the FOs I've flown with, I say most, I don't usually bring up I don't bring it into conversation at all, but they just recognise my voice. John Franco, I remember the days of basic calculating on the fly doing multiplayer when ATC gave me a crossing restriction. I took pride when I arrived at said point right on the money. Absolutely, John. Yeah, very rewarding. Rodrigo, hello from Brazil, Captain. Buenos tardes to you, Rodrigo. Or Buenos dias, I should say, if you're in Brazil. Or maybe Buenos tardes. I don't know what the time is. Oh, shame there's a bit of weather around, but you can just see the mountains to the north of Barcelona. About 60 miles to run, around 18,000 feet. Looking good. And the seatbelt sign's on the entire... Oh no, it did turn off. Now, we'll put the seatbelt sign on, around 15 minutes to landing. Active Sky cannot make its mind up what the weather's doing. It is Protestanis, thanks Rodrigo. Very cool. Oh, ATC. What's he going to give us? I wonder. 13235. Barcelona, Buenos Tardes. It's Formula 1, descending flight level 100. And we're inbound to Canig for runway 20 in Girona. Oh, it's doing its thing again. It's the volume thing's doing. It keeps on my push to talk thing. The COM1 is muted. It did it. Sorry, can you repeat that for the Formula 1?
Formula 1, descend 5,000 feet, QNH 1018. Expect ILS Zulu runway 20, Canig 2 Foxtrot.
Canig 2 Foxtrot, descend 5,000 feet, QNH 1018, Formula 1. So 5,000 feet set out as a demonstration. I'm going to keep this rate of descent going to see if our maths work to make that restriction. So 1018. There's something going on with my VATSIM client in the settings. I went back to it and it put COM1 to 0. And I didn't do that, so I don't know what's going on with that. Every time I check in, I can't hear myself. Right, 1018 is set. And I've not been paying attention, going a little bit fast there, so just bring that speed back to 250. And we're passing 13,200 for 5,000 feet, and the standby altimeter is set. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the VATSIM client on the settings there. It went back to COM1 on 0. Anyway, let's do one more last little check look. We have a distance of 10 miles, so let's do that maths again. 10 miles. Our speed is 330 knots, and we're slowing down as well, so let's call it 310. Times that by 60. We've got 2 minutes to go, and we have 2,000 feet per minute, doing 2,400 feet. Yeah, perfect. Might even be a little bit lower than anticipated, but that's fine. I'd rather reduce the rate of descent to 1,000 feet per minute. So there's sync. I'm going to pitch up now to get to 1,000 feet per minute. And I know I'm going straight down to 5,000 feet, but that's just a demonstration to get to that restriction. Maybe you program G to turn off COM1. Maybe, Pat, maybe. No, something's going on there in the background. It's in the X-Pilot settings button. On the settings, the COM1 was on 0. I never touched that.
Hotel Throttle 1012, welcome to Ibiza, taxi to the
So yeah, because there's no water throttle, look, you've got to keep an eye on that speed. 250 knots, look. Workload's a lot higher in an aircraft like this. There we are, so speed's back up to 250.
Very good evening, Transavia 22 Golf on inbound Kang, on Kango 2 Foxtrot arrival, runway 20, passing...
so there we go, flight level 100. 4 miles out. What do you reckon, guys? Not bad at all. From top of descent, continuous descent all the
runway
way.
20.
Amazing.
Connect to Foxtrot arrival, that's correct.
So
Descent
technically,
5,000
because he's
feet,
descended us
QNH
further,
1018.
I should probably level off at 100, but we're at a radar minimum, so he's cleared us to 5,000. Happy with that. So, we've got 40 miles to run. We can probably just keep getting at 1,000 feet per minute until we get a little bit closer now. And then we're at a radar minimums now, so the charted altitude of flight level 80, he's under radar control, so he can descend us further. He's taking responsibility for that. And we'll do the post-cruise checks now. And now what I'm going to do is also revert to conventional navigation, so let's do the post-cruise checks first. Oh my goodness me, lights are on, APU's off, pressurization is fine, and Dandy's set, seatbelts on. There's nothing to recall there, checks complete. No! Oh, it's crashed, guys.
Barcelona Control, hello, Beeline 3 November Lima, flight level 350. Beeline 3 November Lima, Barcelona, good day, sir.
It's been so long since we've had a crash. So long. Oh, I can't believe it. Formula 1 Sims crashed. It's completely gone. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. Look, someone in G. Oh my days, it's been so long since that's happened. Look, we're not going to end it like that. We're going to get a landing in for you guys. So what I'll do, I'll reboot the sim. I'll put you on runway 20. We'll do a little procedural approach. How does that sound? Sorry about that, guys. These things happen. It's been a long time. I've got no idea what happened. I'm just going to save the log so I can look into it. I've ran 2 other test sectors with no problems, no crashes whatsoever, so I've no idea what's caused that. Right, so just before I reload the sim, let me just grab the log. Yeah, we're not going to end it there. We'll fire up in Girona offline, and we'll take off and we'll do a procedural approach onto runway 20. No way am I ending the stream on a note like that. So there's the log. I'll post that. Oh, guys, yeah, I'll post that on Discord, guys. Thank you so much. They're so good at trying to diagnose these issues here. But yeah, it's not going. We're not going to end the thing here. I doubt it's the aircraft. It'll be something stupid sim related. Right, I'll pop that in live stream, guys. Thanks a lot for looking into that for me. I'll jump straight off though. So that's done. Let me just reload the sim. Yeah, so what I'll do, guys, let me just fire up Navigraph charts. Get that open for you whilst I load up the sim in the background. So starting explain again. So here's Navigraph, right? So where are we going? Lima Echo Golf Echo. So what we'll do, let's have a look at the approach here for 20. Actually, you know what? Should we take off from Barcelona? If we take off from Barcelona and then just route direct to Girona, it's very close. And then we'll fly the procedural approach if we go from 14-1 outbound, and we'll do it all conventionally and then come in via Battle. That would be pretty cool to do. So, new flight. There's our 1046. If we go Barcelona, I'll even take a tailwind for departure. Actually, you know what? If I take off runway 02, goes literally, it'll be a straight line. Look, Jack, quit it. If we take off 02 from Barcelona, look, we'll go straight away airborne towards Girona. We'll only need to climb to about 5,000 feet, and then we'll do the shortest ever sector we need to do. But yeah, guys, please accept my apologies. It's so frustrating these things happen, especially when you put so much effort into the stream and the show. But anyway, right, only thing is though, start of engines running. Runway 02, confirm. Let's go. Yeah, we'll keep the time as it is. We'll enjoy the sunset, can't we? Start flight. There we go. So yes, we'll go Barcelona 02 straight out towards Girona. We'll climb up to. Let's have a look here. Isla Zulu 20. What's the MSA? So if we go up to. What's the platform for this? Yeah, if we go up to 5,600. If we go up to 6,000, I like round numbers. Go to 6,000 feet. We'll fly the procedural approach. 12 miles from Girona. We'll go down to 3,600. And then we'll do a left turn at 12 DME. Intercept the ILS. And there we go. At least you get to enjoy some jazzy music whilst you wait. Right, I've got everything we need. It'll take me 5 minutes though just to configure everything there. Oh, Samuel, your mind crashed as well while Barcelona's cursed. Oh dear. Right, let's update Fly Live as well. Oh, that's interesting. Fly Live's closed. I wonder if it was related to Fly Live and XP IPC, because I didn't close Fly Live down. Interesting. Could be. I know it has caused issues for many in the past, but I'll continue to use it. Right, let's put the shortest ever sector here. Level to LEGE. We'll stick with the Formula 1 call sign. Okay. So that should be updated on the top for you. Captain Franz tuned in to watch the approach. So sorry, Captain. No problem at all. So just to remind anyone that's tuned in, we're still going to get you to Girona. We're going to fly this shortest ever sector from Barcelona to Girona. And what is the actual distance there? Distance is 47 nautical miles. Very short here. Oh, we're in such a good roll recently. I haven't had a CTD for ages. Right, anyway. Right, so I'm going to sort of getting everything set up manually here. So fuel-wise, we're fine. We'll take that amount of fuel, 4 tons. Let's do a quick panel scan here on the top here. Now, lighting is something we're going to have to work out now because we're running a little bit late. Ah, nice. Oh, night lighting's wicked. A bit of flood lighting. I will do that. That's superb. Cool, so we're off runway 02 here, so if we put in 020. Yes, hold on guys. Yeah, I won't do a ping comment. I'm sure anyone that's joining saying what happened, I'm sure others in chat will be able to answer what happened. But thanks a lot guys. Yeah, the lighting in this is superb. See the difference between the two. Look, so I've got the lighting turned up on Jim's side. There we go. We said we're going to go up to 6,000 feet. Active sky still running. Courses, we'll set that to our runway heading here, which is 018. Bit of a tailwind for departure, but no drama. I'm just going to go straight to Girona, guys, because we're going to depart and go straight to the VOR there. Actually, let's have a look at the approach. There we are. So, Girona VOR is 1099, which is active on Jim's side and the first officers. ILS frequency will put on standby, which is 1099. It's currently active, but we want Girona, don't we? Which is 14.1. No, wrong way. So we haven't picked up the VOR yet because it's because of the line of sight. But there we are. Girona VOR is now active. So yeah, it's pretty much going to be a straight line for us. As soon as we depart, it'll be a slight right turn in that direction. MSA, where we're going to be above, will be visual as well. What else have I got left to set? So flaps. Oop, that's just the thrust levers matching my position now. I'm not going to use the FMS. Trim set. There's no unusual messages here. Takeoff then. Oh, we need to set all the bugs, guys. So, power on. Temperature here in Barcelona is... Good for immediate takeoff, Concorde and short final. Thanks, Listerman. Love the call sign. It's the genuine call sign from Formula 1 management. I haven't got the weather for Barcelona, but Girona is going to be, if not the same, pretty similar. 18 degrees. Takeoff, 93%. Yeah, that was unusual, that crash, because it didn't come up with any information on X-Plane. I didn't get the X-Plane 11, send crash error report. It just went straight to the desktop. Which is a bit unusual. 93% and 840 degrees. 1, 2, go. So, QNH 1018, nearly done guys, nearly done. So this is sort of what I do in test sectors when I'm flying the Zebo mod, or testing something for him. I just whack it on the runway and just get as much set up as quickly as possible. Cool, minimums as well. That's the only thing I want to set here. So we said for Cat B, didn't we? That's going to be 703 feet, 234, so we'll set 240. So frequencies, courses. The course is the only thing we need to set here, but we're going to be flying to the VOR first. Right, so if you have just tuned in, thank you so much for joining in here. First, I'd like to apologise for everything that happened. We had a little crash around 20 miles away from Girona, worst possible time. But we've respawned here in Barcelona. We're going to be flying very quickly to Girona, which is just to the northeast, around 40 miles away. And when we get there, we're going to be entering over the VOR, the procedural approach outbound onto the ILS. And then once that's done, hopefully a successful landing, so that way you'll have got a nice safe landing here. All looking good. Right, so without further ado, we'll carry on here. I don't think I've forgotten anything. So takeoff, set target N1, V speed, I want to bug initially 250 because I'm going to go straight to 250 knots. We'll rotate at V1, VR. Initially you're going to fly at V2 plus 10 knots until around 1,000 feet AGL. We'll then bug up and then accelerate to 250, retract the flaps, which are already at 18 here. We'll set climb thrust at around 1,500 feet, around 90% N1. We'll engage the autopilot, climb to 6,000 feet in vertical speed mode. We'll see what happens, guys. Well, Toka's in chat for a second time today, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much, Range L. So is it the safety car now? Yes, I'll need a safety car to be able to take me all the way to Girona, I think, to make sure I don't make any more mistakes. But there you go. We're racing the Mazda MX-5 safety cars tomorrow on the Flight Deck Sim Gaming channel. But thank you very much for your donation there. Awesome stuff. Right, let's go. So we'll release the parking brake. I've just turned the alerts off there, so
50,
there we are. I'll get the oars in there, our range. Thank you very
30,
much. TMS,
20,
TMS.
10.
Brilliant. Hopefully it won't crash. Thank you very much, buddy. That's very, very kind. Right, let's go to Girona for the second time. Parking brakes released. Turn the music off here. About 40% N1. I hope I haven't forgotten anything, guys. Oh my goodness me. Right. And let's set takeoff thrust. So, oh, check the gear issue. Make sure I've clicked into the game. 93%. Looks like the TMS has taken over. We are thrust set. Indications normal. Light forward pressure on the control column.
80 knots cross-checked.
Checked. Release forward pressure. Sceneries from Just Sim, I think.
Rotate.
There we are. Good land again.
V2.
Airborne. Gears up. Just double checking. Look. Yep. Right. Going to maintain around 135. Very light today. It's climbing like an absolute rocket. Hopefully we'll pick up the VR. There we are. Picked up the VR straight away. We're going to make a right turn here. So there's 1,000 feet. We'll bug up. Maintain around 1,000 feet per minute. To make that right turn towards Girona. Climb thrust coming in, 90%. So I'm using the RMI to fly towards Girona at the moment.
The FTO, safe height speed, select flaps.
Thanks, Jim. We're out flying inbound on the radial. We'll get accelerated to 250 knots. Try not to descend now. Sweet. Let's sync up the flight directors. Altitude arm. And there's around 250, so I'm going to go indicated airspeed holds. Vorlock for now. Look at it go. Oh yeah, that's if I turn the autopilot on. And the autodampers. There's 3,000 feet per minute. Sorry, 3,000 feet to go, and we're doing 4,000 feet per minute inbound to Girona. Hope there's no real terrain issues here. It might actually be. Should be turning a little bit further right here. Beautiful. Right, let's go to vertical speeds. Start reducing thrust to maintain 250 knots. It's actually a little bit further than I hoped, but never mind. We'll just go 6,000 feet. Oh, look, we're just going to... Oh, I don't want to be in the cloud. I want to enjoy the scenery around Barcelona. There we are. Take 2. And sink 1,000 feet per minute. Especially as I'm not very happy here, kind of flying around at 6,000 feet below the MSA with terrain around in IMC. Oh dear. Probably go a little bit higher. You know what, I'm going to play it safe. What's the MSA here? 7,700. Let's go to 8,000, guys. Just in case. And that's what would happen if you actually absolutely lost situation awareness. You weren't sure where you were. Quickly check what quadrant you are from your VOR based off your MSA. Yes, you're outside of 25 miles, so that's not accurate. But you know, look, in that sector, it's need to be above 7,700. So yeah, that's what we do if we're close to the airport, and everything went to pot then. And JBF1 left the stream about 2 hours ago. Another takeoff. Yeah, slight technical issue with the sim, unfortunately, but there we are. We're back inbound to Girona, climbed 8,000. Where's that little click spot? And move that over here so I can see it there. Let's quickly do the after takeoff checklist. So we're all good. Pressurization I didn't set. Actually, you know what? Cabin altitude. It's going to be 6,000. I'll leave it at 10. I'm sure it'll pressurize properly. We're not going above 10,000 feet. There's one to go. Ah, oh, nice, look at that, just on top of the clouds there. Beautiful. So, after takeoff checklist, TMS is required, engine air is on, APU air is off, packs are on. Pressurization's been checked, that's the after takeoff checklist complete, and I'll leave it on the approach checklist. Approaching 8,000 feet then. Flying directly to the VOR. Got everything set up for the approach prior to departure. Takeoff should level off here, will be grand. Peter, what program do you use to stream it to YouTube? I'm very impressed. Streamlabs. I use Streamlabs. 8,000 feet, just reducing thrust to maintain 250 knots. And there we go. Cool, so how are we going to fly this approach then, guys? So once we're overhead Girona, we'll fly outbound for 12 miles. We'll go down, we can go down to 3,600. We can sort of intercept the ILS then on around a 12-mile final at around that height. It's going to be fine. I want to be at around sort of 4,500, 5,000 feet by the time I turn final, so we don't need to go out. Don't have to descend too quickly here. Now you have different radials based off your speed, so I'm going to probably do this at 220 knots, so I'll track 033 as my initial sort of outbound course, sort of coming in this direction here. And then yeah, around we go, we've got everything set up. Pretty much, I'll just need to twiddle the course around before we turn final, and then we'll intercept from there. Did anyone in... Well, I'm sure I'll catch up with the guys on Discord, but if anyone that's not on the Discord is interested to see what perhaps caused that crash, I'll take a quick gander now. I ran out of memory. As an OOM event, out of memory. Oh dear, I don't think I've ever had that. Alright, thanks a lot guys for looking at the log. Hopefully I'll have plenty of memory for complete this flight. Now how... didn't run out of memory on the test sectors. Anyway, right, just watch that speed, just going a little bit above 250. We'll make sure we're doing 220 knots by the time we get to the beacon as well. Rory, do you prefer modern steam gauges or modern Garmin-like screens? I'm sort of a half-house, like the 737NG basically. You have the screens and monitors, but obviously the Garmin is very fancy. But no, If I had any choice, I'd like to have a full avionics suite if I'm flying around. It's so much easier. Just all the information you need displayed in front of you. However, I enjoy kind of reliving the way we the guys flew all those years ago. Memory leak, probably. Oh, I don't know. Well, I will be investing in a new PC at the end of the year. Huge thanks to the members who contributed hugely for that. For my birthday, it was very generous of you. That will go very nicely to get something that's up to scratch to keep you entertained for many years to come. Right, anyway, hard to fly overhead, 16 miles to run. Beautiful, beautiful evening for this. That's the only benefits, I suppose. Nice sunset approach. Oh, Peter F, don't forget to use the air brake around 100 feet above the runway. I saw a video of a 146 landing. It's exactly what they did. They pulled in since 100 feet. I'll try my best to remember. I probably won't. There we are. So about to go directly overhead Girona, 13 miles to run. If Chrome is open, that could be a suspect. I don't have anything else running in the background that doesn't need to be running. So Discord shut down, Internet Explorer shut down. All I have running right now is Navigraph, which I don't usually open. I had that open just to show you on the charts whilst we were loading the SIP. I'll actually close that now. I then have X-Plane, Fly Live, Active Sky. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Anyway, there is Girona Airport. First we've seen it today. Clement, flying the TOLIS and watching you. Could life get any better? Oh, very cool. Let's get these charts up. So you might notice when we go outbound, it might not exactly depict what the chart's saying, because this is only one radial. I don't know which radial this particular line's based on, but you can see how the radial differs by 12 degrees based on your speed here. So we only have 8 miles to run, so what I'm going to do is start reducing our speed to around 200 knots for the procedure. So that means we're going to fly outbound on this radial of 033. So what I'll do is bring the heading bug round. Going to go over to heading select, set the course to 033. We'll set Jim's course to the ILS already, 1905. There's 200 knots coming up. 5 miles to run for the VOR. So just adding thrust slowly. Did I bug my approach speeds? No, I didn't. There we are. Oh, I did. That's just annoyingly bugged my target speed there. So 4 miles to run from the VOR. This DME is the DME off the ILS. Just watch our speed there, so I'm just going to add thrust there to get back to 200. There we go. The added memory was from X-Plane 11 itself. Seems like there was likely an internal bug that filled it up. Its allocated block of memory and edged out all the valid uses of the allocation. Ah, so it wasn't the PC itself then that ran out of memory. It was the X-Plane itself. Well, there you go. Anyway, about to go over the station. We can go down to, if we remind ourselves, 3,600. Ah. There we are. That's armed. There we are, so out of the station we go. Make a slight turn to intercept that. You can see the needle swinging now. And we're abeam, so we can now descend to 3,600 feet. So let's use vertical speed, sync. I'm just going to do around 1,000 feet per minute. Here comes the radial, so we can even lower our workload further by using localizer hold, or radial hold, so it'll hold that radial for us. Just further reduce that thrust to make sure we don't go above 200 knots. What's the outside air temperature? Well, We need actually the TAP, but I don't know where that's displayed, but I think we'll be okay about engine anti-ice. So the automation is on VOR hold, so it is holding that radial for us. Nav 1, vertical speed, and the altitude is armed down to 3,600 feet. Jim should get the glide slope information first, but what I'll do, I'll revert to heading very shortly, so I can actually set the course for the ILS. There you go. Nicely outbound, look at that. Peter, spoilers selected after touchdown. Do you use a control column or side stick? Also, do you use our rudder pedals? I've got Thrustmaster joystick, side tech rudder pedals for speed brake control. I will be... just hold on, I need to concentrate here. I'll be using the number 4 button on my keypad. That's 200 knots. Only for 12 DME. That's 6 here. Back to our target speed. The average climbs like a turtle. A little slow. Nice. Beautiful sunset. So fiddly controlling the speed. I do miss auto throttle, I'll tell you that. I really miss auto throttle. So I'm just going to increase our rate of descent slightly to around 1,500 feet per minute. Just to make sure I get nice and low. Definitely need to go idle here, and I'll use a little bit of that speed brake. Look, get that speed right back to 200 knots. We're waiting for 12 DME to start that turn. There we are, so let's now bring our heading round. We'll go heading slit. Look at that, that's really nice, those colours. Set the course, 195 for final. And here comes 12 DME, 11.7, 11.8. Let's call that 12 miles. So let's give ourselves a nice little intercept heading. Target speed down. Let's go to around 160 knots now. There we are. Approach alert. Alert's off. There you go. Just to show you where we are. Jim should get the glide slope information and localized information at any time now. I'm happy to actually bring that up my side.
Speed checked below 205. Select flaps 18.
Flaps 18 coming. There we are. So just a 1 dot below the glide slope. That's perfect. So I'm just going to increase that, increase that vertical speed. No, I don't want to climb. Oh no, I was pressing the wrong button. That's why. Ugh, sink. There we go. Sink's that button. There we are. And we'll intercept from there. We can arm Vorlock.
Localizer armed.
Thanks, Jim. Just watch our speed there. Yeah, back to 160. Come on. There we are. Looking good. License coming in quite nicely. So it did that turn quite tightly, kind of cutting the corner slightly, but we're on the safe side. We're still above the minimum altitude here. Jim's an android. Right, we can arm. I think.
Glide slope armed.
Yeah, I can arm it all up.
Localizer captured.
Thanks, Jim.
Glide slope captured.
Thanks again, Jim. Runway heading 195. Very nice. And the missed approach altitude was 5,600 feet. Set. Looking good. And there we are. And that's a procedural approach into Girona. So get that speed brake out. Look, bring that speed back to 160. I'll probably maintain 160 till about. That's such a wicked speed brake. It's just so easy. Just to, if you get a little bit too fast, just whack that thing out, bring the speed right back to your target speed. Excellent. So established on final. Oh, lower the gear shortly. AC pump wants to come on. Brake fans on auto.
Established on the ILS.
Thanks, Jim. Brilliant. Love it. Ah, yes, the crickets have come back. Yes, so early versions of the Zebo mod suffered from this. Constant sort of trim inputs in turbulent weather. In real life, it will dampen this out a lot more and only make inputs as required, but you get this sort of continuous movement with the trim at the moment. I'm sure they'll fine-tune that with further updates here, but it wouldn't be moving like this. Otherwise, I saw some other forum reported as sort of cricket sounds. It's exactly how it sounds. Crickets in the flight deck. But
Speed
still.
check below 205, select gear down.
Okay, boss.
Speed checked below 180, select flaps 24.
Okay, Jim. You're the boss, will start slowing down. Oh, so I'll go flap 25. But yes, what I'm very happy to see is that the team at Just Flight are really listening to feedback. 5 updates already since it's released.
Select flap 33.
Flap 33 coming in. Look how slow this aircraft is. Very early, 6 miles, but Jim's in charge. Did I hear 2 Jims at once? You did. Uh-oh. Hydraulics. I hope that's a temporary issue. It is. Alright. So there's our target speed coming in. And there you are. Look at this approach speed. Just around 110 knots. So slow. It would be upsetting anyone else on final, that's for sure. Right, so landing checklist, gear down, flaps 33, we've got 3 green lights, lights out as required, so we'll turn the landing lights on, which they are. Just check our speed. And we'll turn the TMS off as well, which it advises to do by 200 feet. And that's it, check's complete. So, should I have a bit of fun, guys? Should I hand fly? I think so.
Autopilot disconnected.
Autopilot's disconnected, I'll turn off the TMS. There we are. So, got flight director guidance still and the glide slope guidance test. 2 reds, 2 whites. Approach speed on this aircraft because it's such a large wing for the size of the aircraft. You know, fantastic short takeoff and landing performance capabilities. We're flying at around 110 knots at the moment. I mean, an empty 737. The approach speed is no less than 115, 120 knots. That we're kind of simulating. Well, actually, I don't know because we never fiddled with it. I think we've probably got more passengers than we started off with before we had the sim crash there. But yes, finally established on final, which is where we should have been 25-30 minutes ago. Looking nice. A nice butter to end the day, please. Looking good. Not sure what the surface wind's doing. I think it's a 10 knot wind or something here. So it's really nice having the bug speed, and then you have this little circle to show you if you're going fast or slow. Far easier than reading the airspeed indicator needle, especially in the sim. So you can make immediate change. So I'm just going a little bit on the far side, so just reduce thrust. Going good on the pappies, a little bit left of centre line. Back on target speed. I just had a little look at chat. Are you still making Formula 1 references? Very cool. Right, still a little bit left of centre line here. You can see the localizer deviation telling me to fly right. Speed's perfect. That's me making a little trim input there, but she's pretty much in trim. Descending here. Now the runway markings are a little bit incorrect on this runway. Again, this is another scenery from TDG, so you'll see the aiming point way before the pappies. 3 whites there. There's a minimum call from Sally. Very, very quiet there. Right, back on the correct descent profile. Keep it descending now. Nicely on the centre line. There's a little bit of a crosswind coming in from the right, by the looks of it. Speed's good. Yeah, the aiming point's a little bit off there. 3 reds, that's okay at this stage. Keep it descending. More looking at the aiming point. It's around 50 feet. We'll check, close. Oh, speed brake out. Yeah, there you go. Oh, no butter even. That's because I got the speed brake out. Right. So speed brake and spoilers are up.
Spoilers.
Don't mind. I'm not even touching the brakes. I don't need to. It's going in at 110 knots. I need to make that exit. Just let the big bucket do everything. Look at it there. Amazing. Start braking manually now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome eventually to Girona. There we go. Perfect. So, speed brakes up, flaps retracted. 10 knots for the turn. And we made it down. Excellent. I think I've even got the capacity to turn on the taxiing music. There we go. Awesome. Well, Bernie got there eventually in one piece, ready for the Formula 1 this weekend. Going to taxi straight ahead. There's a stand just here. What's here? Hydraulics again. A little issue with the hydraulics. I don't know if that's a X-Plane 11 doing its random failure thing, or if it's a... Oh, it's gone off again. Maybe it's a 146 thing I don't know about. Who knows? Right, anyway, we've vacated. Taxi lights on. Stripes can come off. I'm going to taxi straight ahead. I can see Marvin the Marshaller. There he is. And get the AP up and running straight away. Start. Box. Deary me. Flight director's off. Weather radar's already off. Didn't use it on this little sector. What's this now? Electrics? Uh-oh. Maybe it's because the AP generator's offline. Not sure. Anyway, come on to stand here. Sorry, Marvin. We are blinding you at the moment. Nice scenery here from TDG. Even get cars floating as well, included. Excellent, his arms have disappeared. That means we're in the right position. And we'll set the parking brake to yellow and park. Oh, it's so hard to do. There we are, parking brake is set. Yes, we have the yellow brake pressure up as well. Right, we'll cancel that. AP generator offline, that's what it is moaning at me. We'll put it online then, and it's available. So we are on the APU, and we'll now shut down engine number 4, engine number 3, engine number 2, and engine number 1. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Girona. Local time is exactly 9 PM here in Barcelona, in the F1 BAE 146-100. Oh, I'm so gutted that we had the crash on that first approach, but I hope you enjoyed the way I rescued the stream, so you can at least sort of see a full flight. You got to see a procedural approach, which was pretty fun. That's a great way of practicing, learning to fly a little aircraft like this, fly it that way and enjoy it there as well. But yeah, nice, enjoyable stream. Such a shame about the crash there. Let's have a little look at some of the things mentioned here on the approach. Listener said attach your propeller to the trim wheel and get to cool legs. Jesus Christ. Jim removed the bulb for you. Brilliant. What else do we have here? Remember, there's no reverse thrust. I remember that one, RTC Mal, but it's not like you exactly need it in this aircraft. It's such an epic short field performance as it is. John was feeling the Lurpak tonight. I honestly think it was me chucking out the speed brake in a flare that threw me off a little bit, because I didn't arrest the rate of descent slightly, but it was still a great landing, it said, so happy with that. SG Gibson said good enough. Thanks. Oh dear, brutal. Very, very cool. Anthony, not a Hamilton fan, but not a Mazepin. Let's call it Leclerc landing. Oh, okay. That's
50,
what the landing was. Okay,
40,
very good.
30, 20, 10.
Thanks a lot, Pete, for the fiver. It's very kind, sir. Thank you.
Meet you in El Celler de Can Roca in Girona in 30 minutes, possibly the best restaurant in
I'll take your word for
the
it,
world.
Pete. Oh, sorry, I hadn't finished. Sorry, Microsoft Jane. In the world, trying to do a little bit of a Jeremy Clarkson there, old Microsoft Jane. Thanks a lot, Pete, for the £5. Sounds really cool. Never heard that restaurant before, but sounds like you've been there before. I I think coming back into the flight deck was a bad idea based on all those noises. Just turn the beacon light off. No, never heard of that restaurant before. Sounds very nice. I'll be sure to meet you there. You get first rounds on some faces on me. Thank you very much, buddy. Andy, great job. That's P1. Awesome job, mate. Brilliant. Thank you very much there. Waypoint Richie said absolutely fabulous. And Kieran Harvey, a meets standards landing, absolutely. And Jamin, absolutely correct. Replay time. Awesome stuff. So, just before we start the replay as well, yeah, do I like this aircraft? Absolutely. That's why I'm streaming it for the second time within a week here, and no doubt I'll be streaming it again in the future there. So, great job to Just Flight and the team behind that, Thrander Designs, I think they're called. Not only for releasing a great aircraft, but not only the fact that you find that some devs, they usually release it, leave it. They seem to be really listening back to feedback from the community, and we're on version 1.0.6 we flew today. So we're already, 6 updates since it's been released, and no doubt further more to come, which will further refine and fine-tune and make this aircraft even better. But I have great fun streaming it, and great performance, great fun. So yeah, we'll be definitely flying again in the future. Right, so on that note, we'll turn down the background music here and cue the funky replay music. There we are. So let's have a little look at it here. Now on the replay, on the earlier versions, the speed brake didn't deploy, so I don't know if they fixed that on replay. Let's have a little look here. Let's turn up there. Oh, this is the base from the aircraft already. Very rumbly. Great sounds on this. It's such a fun, so stumpy. Right, so you see I got the speed brake out. Yeah, it worked on the replay. There you go. Like a proper 146 pilot. Very cool. Very, very good. There's the ground spoilers coming out. That should have been a little bit quicker. Let's have a little look from here. Nice. Apparently this aircraft's quite easier to land than others as well. Yeah, a bit more buttery, but never mind. Love all the clunking sounds. Awesome. Our tower view. Yes, we did. Let's have a look from Rodriguez's tower. F1 management here, safely at last, even though they teleported to another dimension into Barcelona and then flew to Girona. There's the check, and the attitude. There's the speed brake coming out, and then down. Awesome. Love the anhedral. These wings, very, very cool. Superb. Right. What are we going to do? I think the flat view is the best one there. I really like that one there. Secondly, because also in that view, you get don't sink warnings throughout the entire replay. So I'll probably use that view there. Awesome stuff then, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for another Flight Deck Sim live stream in the BAE 146 Professional from Just Flight, as I just mentioned. A fine aircraft to have in any virtual hangar. Look forward to streaming it again soon. Thanks all for your patience during the sim crash there. These things do happen. I'm sure you're all well aware of the crash desktops. Looks like it's just one of those things that happens. So apologies for the disruption of the show, but I hope you enjoyed the on-call, quickly dreamt up flying from Barcelona to Girona there, so that was great. To everyone that donated, thank you so much, and to all the members, thanks for the continued support as well, and to all the regular viewers and subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, smash the thumbs up button on the way out, and I'll see you all tomorrow on the Flight Deck Sim Gaming channel, where we'll be racing the MX-5, so looking forward to that as well. Enjoy the weekend otherwise, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.